Hey, hello, everybody. I am here with Bruce Matzkin and Michael Volpe from Substack.com. How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Great.
Welcome to Two Leaves in a Pod. So we are here today to discuss the infamous macaroni and cheese cover up. Hello, everyone. Hi in the chat. So this is something that has been mentioned over and over again, but nobody really knows what it's really about. So I figured let's get you guys on here so we can discuss it and explain to everybody what this case is all about.
I appreciate it because Mike is the first journalist to cover it, and he interviewed me 2 times, and the links will be under here. But we're really trying to get the story out there because it's an important story. He understands how important it is.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead.
It is an important story, and one of the reasons it's important is the central judge. Her name is Carrie Dooley. At the time, she was a state judge, and then in 2017, then President and soon to be current President Trump appointed her to be a federal judge. So she's a district judge now. The only two places to go up from here is an appeals court and Supreme Court. So what she did here is very, very wrong. And so hopefully, if enough publicity gets out, we can at least stop her ascension through the judicial world.
Right. Alrighty. So why don't we just let me put this up here. So this is whoops, hold on.
Yeah, so this is a chronology that I created, and it really is it's a self-contained document that has everything that you need to understand this story, and it's done in a way I hope that even non-lawyers can understand and kind of comprehend and absorb it. And within it are the excerpts that tell the story, and there are links to all of the transcripts that are excerpted and other things. So there's a link at the top to just a Google Drive folder of everything. So anybody who really, really wants to dig into it, beyond this document, they have the ability to do it.
All right, so let me explain the story in about like 30 seconds to a minute, and then we're going to get into it in depth. So Robert Dunn started a macaroni and cheese fast food place that he called Mac Daddy, and about a year later, he found a guy named Joseph Ball who had a lot of money. They partnered up and they split the business 50-50, and Joseph Ball was supposed to find, fund, and build 2 more locations of Mac Daddy. And in the middle of it, he found out that Dunn was taking money out, and Dunn wasn't hiding it. And the partner
was not hiding it.
Was not hiding it, but he was definitely taking money. And it created one lawsuit after another. And before you knew it, the lawyers who represented Mr. Vol represented a competitor in the form of his daughter, which seems to be a blatant conflict of interest. And then Dunn maneuvered through the use of an unrelated judgment to take, or Vol did. Vol, through an unrelated judgment, took Dunn's 50%. So what should have been a relatively easy, at least in terms of the legal world, financial dispute turned into a clusterfuck, and it did because
Sure
we
did.
have a judge that was extremely biased and lawyers who are extremely unethical, and they took advantage of this guy Dunn. And whether you think that what he did was slimy or not, the consequences he did not deserve. And this is a form of legal theft, and it's legal because the judge has the power to do it. So it's one thing to think about just how much power these judges have, and is there a way to reduce them? Do we want them to have this kind of power? As you see, and there was more than one judge, but primarily it's Carrie Dooley, who's now a federal judge, who did this.
Hey, Mike, is there a way that you can turn your volume up, perhaps?
Let me see.
They're just saying that your volume is low compared to us, so. And now you're muted.
I go in through my phone as opposed to the laptop. I find that my volume works better through the phone for some reason.
All right, is that better?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
I'll keep my It might have been the
The
headset.
headphone. Yeah.
All right. Should I explain it again, or did they understand it?
I think you got it. I think you got it.
All right.
Yeah.
Bruce, you want to expand on what I
Yeah,
said?
let me give my take on it. Essentially the same thing, but in my words. So, Dunn had started this company and built it up in terms of a Facebook network and one location, and then a second franchise location. And then he brought on this finance guy, Vol, who his deal was he would open 2 new locations, and prospectively he would be a 50% paper owner. But he didn't open anything, and instead he was secretly working with his daughter to open a competitor in those 2 locations. And when they got caught, the 2 lawyers just appeared for the competitor at the same time they were representing Mac Daddies and against Dunn in the lawsuit for Dunn taking money. So they were representing 2 competitors at the same time in the same litigation. And that's the conflict that we're going to go into detail about.
Mr. Ball, who were his lawyers? What law firm did they work for? And if you're going to describe them as are they big con, boutique, what kind of a law firm was it?
So they were a big, powerful law firm.
Mm-hmm.
LeClaire Ryan at the time.
Right.
And
now, that firm actually dissolved, but at the time they were a big, and the reason that's important is what I have found, and this happened in Connecticut, but it's throughout the United States. The big law firm, Jones Day, those types of law, and I'm not saying that Jones Day is unethical, but these really big law firms are a lot less touchable, not completely untouchable in terms of unethical behavior than a mom and pop and a boutique. I believe that had these 2 folks worked for a mom and pop, maybe for themselves, they may not have tried it, but if they did, the outcome would have been a lot different. You are protected a lot more when you work for a big law firm, and that's important. Their unethical behavior is looked the other way a lot more because they were at a big law firm. If Bruce tried this as a sole practitioner, I don't think anyone would have stood for it.
Well, one of the big questions this whole thing raises at the end of this document, in fact, I put it in there, is, did they really try it, or did they know how it was going to turn out? Because I don't think that 2 lawyers and a judge would basically just leave it to fate and not know that it was going to, be rigged.
Again, I think because they were at a big law firm, they can get away with something like this. I think if you tried it or schemed as a sole practitioner, the outcome would be a lot different.
Right.
So as we walk through it, so explain some of the details. And one thing people should know, this guy Vol at no time actually put any money in. It was foolish, I think, of Mr. Dunn. The way he wrote up the agreement, Vol got his 50%, and he was supposed to do things, but he got the 50%. And he never actually opened the 2 locations, never put any money in. And that's really important because by the end, he took Dunn's 50% without actually doing anything on behalf of the business.
And he ends up owning, we're giving you the ending at the beginning. He ends up owning the whole business thanks to the judge's decision. So that's what we're going to lead up to.
Right. Well, we're doing it Quentin Tarantino style, but it's important because he also says that Dunn is stealing from our business. Well, you didn't put anything in. So who is he stealing from? He's not
anyway, so let's go through it.
Mm-hmm.
So Lisa, yeah, you could just kind of scroll through as we go, and we can stop and talk about a certain part or point that's made along the way. But let's just keep it simple and go through it. Now, the link at the top here is for anybody who wants to really go beyond this document, because it's a link to a Google Drive folder. It has all the transcripts. The transcripts that we see excerpts of here in this document, but the full transcript, some of them are highlighted, multiple copies of the same transcript because some are highlighted and et cetera. They're all well labeled by date. So very easy to work with for anybody who's interested. Now, it begins in November 2012, and this is where I got a call and had a meeting with this Robert Dunn, and he wanted to hire a lawyer because he was being sued by his partner, Joseph Vol. Now, Joseph Vol had become a 50% partner in exchange for agreeing to open 2 new locations of this Mac Daddy's restaurant that Dunn had started, and it was doing pretty well. He had a location in Monroe, Connecticut, and then he'd actually managed to open a second one with another guy, the Swanson's, a franchisee in, I think, Fairfield. And Vol became a part owner of that as well, but that's sort of beside the point. So he becomes a 50% owner of the LLC by promising to open 2 new locations at his expense. And so as of that time, and this is what Mike was referring to, unwisely, Dunn prospectively gave him the 50% on paper. And that was the key to his ability to initiate a lawsuit against Dunn in November 2012, based on claiming theft by Dunn of Mac Daddy's funds.
Let me interject. I'm gonna make a very technical point that may not seem important, but as we go along, it is very important. When Vol sued Dunn on behalf of Mac Daddy. Remember that. That becomes very important as we go along.
The most important thing, in fact, because when he brought the lawsuit against Dunn for stealing money, it's stealing Mac Daddy's money. And as the 50% paper owner, he had standing to file a lawsuit on behalf of Mac Daddy's in Mac Daddy's name against Dunn.
Let's think about this. Robert Dunn, Bruce's client, is the other 50% owner. He is saying that Dunn is stealing from himself. Now, as 50% owner, you're saying he's stealing from both of us, but it is a novel, if you will, lawsuit to say as 50% owner, you're stealing from yourself.
Right. And then we find out it was all contrived, and we're going to find out why.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what's the next?
So he uses 50% standing derivative to bring what's called a derivative action. So Vol brings the lawsuit, but it's really in the name of Mac Daddy's, and the lawyers he hires from LeClaire Ryan enter an appearance, and the named client and party for whom they appear is Mac Daddy's Macaroni and Cheese LLC, suing Robert Dunn for alleged theft. And so they are counsel of record in court to the world as counsel for Mac Daddy's Macaroni and Cheese LLC. And that is the most important point. So now scroll up a little, and what happens in November 2012, after this lawsuit is filed and they file their appearances, that's the first subheading. They file a lawsuit and appearances for Mac Daddy's LLC. You know what I got to do is, because my laptop is about 5 seconds behind. All right.
Oh, right. Gotcha.
Yep. So what happens is there's a preliminary injunction held. Go up back a little bit, because what happens was first they tried to go to court ex parte, and they tried to get a judge to say, hey, Vol, you get to just take over Mac Daddy's. Without even Dunn having a chance to come to court and argue against it. That was denied.
That's important. This guy, Vol, has provided nothing for Mac Daddy. Dunn opened it. He promoted it. He's the reason that it has sales for him to take. Vol, because he says that, and every time Dunn took money, he went to the bookkeeper and he said, here's how much I took. And that's how they know how much he took. All right.
We're getting ahead of that. We'll get to that.
This is the world's worst thief. Tells everyone exactly how much he took. And so what Vol wants to do, despite doing zero, is take over the business, because Dunn took money from the register. And why did he take money? Because he works 60, 70, 80 hours a week. How long?
And his wife.
Free. Mm-hmm.
And his wife.
And this is very important. He had been taking money from the beginning and paying himself. Now
he wasn't doing anything different.
Now, Bruce, now this is important. Did he tell Vol that this was what he was doing? Did Vol know ahead of time that your client would take money from the register?
Maybe not, but that was beside the point, because he was working full time, and they didn't have a formal arrangement for him to receive a salary. So he and his wife were both working full time.
I think it doesn't necessarily justify everything, but I think it is Dunn should have told Vol ahead
I
of
got you. I got you, Mike. But the issue here is not about it. Dunn could have been stealing. He could have been absolutely secretly stealing like a thief in the night, and it wouldn't change any of the issues that we're trying to bring to light here.
All right. Okay.
All right.
What's the
So,
next step?
so there was an ex parte effort that was denied. The judge said, no, we're going to have a full proceeding, and then we'll decide whether you get an injunction to take over Mac Daddy's from Dunn. And even though that was denied, Vol, who owned the real estate, this is how they came together. He was the landlord for Mac Daddy's where, it was open. And he used that standing to get the police to escort Dunn off the premises, change the locks, and he took over anyway, even though the court said he wouldn't be able to do that. So then that's when Dunn first came to me after that had occurred. And so there was really nothing I could do at that point to prevent that. I mean, this happened, before I even ever met him. And the next event was going to be this injunction hearing in January. So January 28th, prior to January 28th, a couple of days, there was a couple of days of evidentiary hearing. And the result was that this judge, Dale Radcliffe, issued an injunction that says, okay, Dunn, you're out. Vol, you get to take over. Even though Dunn started the company, even though Vol hadn't given anything to the company for his 50%, even though Dunn worked there full time, even though he documented all of the draws of cash he was taking, all of that didn't matter. And the judge, for the first time in the history of jurisprudence, ruled that 150% owner is going to take over from the other, and by judicial decree. There's never been a case like it.
And even though Vol ignored a previous judge's order and called in the cops and forced Dunn out and changed the locks in violation of a previous order. Keep in mind, judges speak through their orders. That's normally, if you do something that a judge tells you directly not to do, that's bad. All right. That's if you guys are following the British thing. That's why Tommy Robbins is in jail. Because a judge said, don't keep repeating something. He kept repeating it. So in this case, a judge said, no, we're going to hold a hearing. Dunn will continue to be the owner. And this guy violated that order. And was it the same judge who issued the preliminary injunction?
No, it wasn't. It was different. So Judge Rush.
Why this judge didn't care as much, but this Judge Radcliffe didn't care that Vol ignored a previous order and gave him the business.
Right. He never gave Dunn the chance to abide by any order. Like, hey, Dunn, okay, until we sort this out, you get to take this much per month or something. It would have been so easy to figure out how much he took, and if all were entitled to have some sort of evening out of that, then they could have easily done that through income draws. So,
right, and this is another thing that everything that happened could have been done in a fair and orderly manner.
Yeah, but let's stick with the chronology, because all of this everything we're saying is going to come up in the chronology.
All right, let's go on.
All right. So what happens is now Vol takes over. Vol had already taken over in defiance of the denial of that ex parte application. And now officially this judge says, okay, you're in charge. You run the company. Dunn's not even allowed to post on Facebook, which is just ridiculous, a prior restraint, because he wanted to communicate with the Facebook network he'd built up of fans. So what happens is there's a mediation, and this is what happens in April 30th. There's a mediation in Waterbury, Connecticut, where the case gets transferred to. What happens is there's a settlement reached, and the settlement is basically that they're going to have a divorce. They're going to go their separate ways. And what happens is Dunn, in anticipation of taking back, in other words, Vol would be let out of his obligations. He doesn't owe any money. He doesn't have to open 2 locations. And Dunn is going to just go back to being Mac Daddy's. And what happens is Dunn contacts some vendors in anticipation that he's going to be now, reestablishing his contact with the vendors. And he finds out that these vendors have been contacted to open up accounts for Mackin' Out, a competitor macaroni and cheese restaurant that's owned by Vol's daughter, Caitlin Vol. So in secret, this entire time, when they filed the lawsuit in November against Dunn, they were using this as cover for a secret plot to open up a competitor and steal the locations and the macaroni and cheese restaurant market that Dunn had created and built up. And that was exposed to as of April of 2013. That was learned and brought to the judge's attention. So now, if you scroll.
Now, the mediation led to a settlement agreement with what turned out for your client to be, I guess, a poison pill. There was language in there. And what was the language that he found at this point completely objectionable?
Yeah, we actually, I didn't put it in this, but it's in, they tried to include, it was like a red flag in this settlement agreement that, the parties may learn of additional facts that they weren't aware of and agree in advance that will not change anything, which was like a red flag. But I'm not sure if that's why Dunn called the vendors or he just happenstance, was calling them and found out. But anyway,
they
it
put
was
that in there so that way Dunn couldn't sue after the fact for this guy.
They were trying to shield themselves. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Committing from the fraud they were committing.
Right. So Dunn decides not to settle. And by the way, this judge lets Vol take control of the business. And then when they go to mediation, the mediated agreement is no, Dunn's going to control the business. When you see that kind of thing where the orders and agreements constantly flip from one extreme to the other, that's a sign that it's either corrupt or just judicial incompetence. Because why are you making these orders that are swinging wildly this way?
Well, that wasn't an order, Mike. That was just an agreement, and Vol was getting out of his financial obligations.
So if the initial injunction was right that gave Vol control, then how come when they agreed, it gives Dunn control back? Obviously, it's either corruption or at least incompetence that you would give this guy control on a temporary basis if the ultimate agreement goes back. When you see these kinds of swings, it's either corruption or incompetence on the judge's part.
Whatever. I mean, but what Ratcliffe did was, unjustified. But what happened? But what happens here in May? Now, this is when we're getting into the conflict. This is really the meat of this. So, in May of 2013. And this is an excerpt. The two lawyers, we bring it to the judge's attention. I and my co-counsel, another lawyer, Noah Sexton, we bring it to the judge's attention, and we say that they are. Wait a minute. That we've discovered that there's a secret plot to open up a competitor, Mackin Out, in these locations, and. So Attorney Conway, as you can read in the excerpt, says that they want to oppose our efforts to bring Mackin Out in as defendant and Caitlin Vol, the daughter, in as defendants in a lawsuit by Dunn to try to save these two locations from being stolen. And Judge Dooley doesn't understand why, if they represent Mac Daddies in a lawsuit against Dunn, they should be concerned about Mac Daddies suing a competitor who is secretly trying to steal its location. So she asks, are you planning on filing appearances on behalf of these additional defendants? And Attorney Conway says, well, we're going to, unless we could find other counsel. But right now, we've started having discussions with alternative counsel. But if that alternative counsel doesn't work out, we're going to appear on behalf of all parties related to Joe Vol, Caitlin Vol, and Mackin Out. So this is the lawyer who to the world is counsel of record for Mac Daddies, and now saying that he will appear against Mac Daddies if they sue Joe Vol, Caitlin Vol, and Mackin Out. That is a direct conflict. So go a little further.
So when I interviewed Bruce, I said, this looks like a blatant conflict of interest, but maybe I'm not an attorney and I don't understand. Bruce, you're an attorney. Is it as blatant as it looks?
It is as direct intra-litigation, black and white conflict representation of two opposing competitors within the same litigation. It couldn't be more black and white. Impossible.
And so these two lawyers, you would think, are smart enough at LeClaire, Ryan. They wouldn't have gotten a job there to know they couldn't. You can't do this.
Right. So go further down the chronology.
It's interesting that they still thought they could do this, because I don't think they were stupid and didn't know that technically are not allowed. I think they knew that they could skirt around the rules. And this is what I mean. Someone at a mom and pop at a boutique firm is with just a handful of lawyers, or a sole practitioner would never be able to get away with something like this. This is the sort of thing that big law, as it's called, gets away with.
So let's see how bad it gets. This is just the beginning. Just the beginning. Go ahead, Lisa. Scroll down. And do you have any questions, Lisa?
I'm just letting you guys go. You guys are doing a great job explaining it. So,
all right. So now they announced that we may appear against Mac Daddies, even though we have appearances for Mac Daddies in the lawsuit that we brought against Dunn.
Mm-hmm.
So now I got to wait a couple seconds for the scroll. All right. So sure enough, on June 4th. So what happens is, we, meaning me and my co-counsel, file. Now, Dunn is 50% owner of Mac Daddy. So through his 50% standing, he retains me and our co-counsel, the same ones defending him, to file a new lawsuit by Mac Daddies against Mackin Out and Vols, Caitlin Vol, Joe Vol, for plotting to secretly steal the locations, for Vol's breach of his Mac Daddy's non-competition agreement. Of course, when he's 50% owner, part of the agreement is he can't work, for a competitor or work with a competitor. And so that's filed, and we file it as Mac Daddy's lawyers. And then on June 4th is the scheduled beginning of the hearing on the injunction to stop Mackin Out from opening in those two locations. So that was the lawsuit initially seeking to prevent them from stealing the locations. On that day, we show up in court, and as you can see, the court starts the proceeding. This is the matter of Robert Dunn versus Joseph Vol in several consolidated actions, and don't worry about Dunn versus Vol. The point is, we introduce ourselves, Your Honor, for Robert Dunn and on behalf of Mac Daddies, me and attorney Noah Sexton, Bruce Matzkin and Noah Sexton, meaning we're appearing for Robert Dunn and on behalf of Mac Daddies in the new lawsuit that Mac Daddies is filing through Dunn's membership against Mackin Out. Then attorney Liz Acey, Mike Conway's partner, announces that we appear for Joseph Vol, Caitlin Vol, Mackin Out, and Mackin Out LLC, and with me is attorney Michael Conway. Okay, if you could scroll.
Right there, you see they've represented that they have represented both competitors in competing actions. And by the way, Bruce, the judge would certainly know this is a conflict.
Yeah, well, here's where we're getting to it. I get right to it. If I may, counsel failed to include in their clients Mac Daddies, Macaroni and Cheese. That's who they have an appearance for as well. And I'm of course referring to the first lawsuit, the one that they brought in November for Mac Daddies against Robert Dunn. So attorney AC says, no, we don't. And then Conway says, no, we don't. And I make a note, and we'll get to September 11th later where he says he does. And then I say, and Mac Daddies in Monroe, the other Mac Daddies entities. So Conway says, he misread our pleading and said that we represent Joseph Vol, who's suing individually and derivatively on behalf of those entities. Our client is only Joseph Vol. And then I said, on behalf of Mac Daddies in the same capacity as Dunn is bringing for Mac Daddies. So in other words, we're here for a Mac Daddies lawsuit brought through Dunn's derivative membership, 50%, just like the first lawsuit was brought by Vol on behalf of Mac Daddies. The appearance is for Mac Daddies. The party of record is Mac Daddies. That's the conflict. So the judge basically says, I'm pretty sure I'm going to take these up on Friday, but let's go ahead and just proceed forward, notwithstanding this major issue of a conflict. So we'll put that aside, and we'll have an entire injunction proceeding where these lawyers who are going to now represent Mackin Out against Mac Daddies, while they and their client have been in full control of Mac Daddies for the last 6 months.
Right. And she said, we'll talk about that later. Let's go ahead with the hearing, but I will listen to it at some point.
So now we get into the actual evidence. And if you just scroll through, what I did is I've taken out excerpts that just show.
Bruce, why don't I read this? So
go ahead. Yeah, you want to do a Q&A?
Yeah. Bruce asking the question, Ms. Ball, when did you come up with the idea for Mackin' Out Macaroni and Cheese? Back in November 2012. Well, you were aware that your father was involved with Robert Dunn and Mac Daddy Macaroni and Cheese, right? Yes. And how did you know that? There was an agreement between the two of them that was on paper. It was Mac Daddy's stores were going up. Were you aware there was a provision that said he couldn't be involved in a competing business? Yes. And you hired Mr. Vol as your general contractor? And it is in your view that that's not being involved in Mackin' Out by being the general contractor, building on the location? Correct. She's saying that's not a conflict. All right. Ms. Vol, Exhibit Y is a certificate of incorporation for Mackin' Out, dated November 12, 2012. Can you identify the signature of the agent that appears on that document? Joseph Vol. So there was already a build out in Milford, a ready store, and you needed to just sort of renovate it, retrofit it for your idea. Yeah, it was almost completed. It was going to be another mac and cheese restaurant. And you were aware that what was already built was for Mac Daddy's, right? Correct.
All right, so all of this excerpt shows that she knowingly had her father violating his contract with Mac Daddy's and secretly stealing the locations. Now, get into the excerpt about knowingly hiring the lawyers, Mike.
Right. Well, what's interesting is that's, I think, called a cross-examination. It reads like she's his witness. She on his cross just answered all of the questions exactly how he wanted. That's what I can. It's
amazing.
Say. I mean, look.
I couldn't have asked for better admissions and more candor from her.
Look, she's honest, and sometimes when you ask the right questions, that's what you get. All right. So,
or she knew that she could just be as candid as she wanted because it was all in the bag.
Right. She just admitted that we have created a blatant conflict that my dad has violated his non-compete, and none of us care.
Now get to the lawyer conflict, which is the real.
Now Bruce asking questions. How is it that you went about deciding to hire LeClaire Ryan? I know that Attorney AC and Attorney Conway, from them doing this case, and they've known the case. They know this case, and there's a lot of things that have happened between last year and this year, and I wanted someone who would really know what was going on. Why did you believe that they knew so much about the case that made them the best candidates for representation? They've been representing my father's Joseph Vol, so they knew everything going on with Mac Daddy's, Robert Ryan, and Joseph Vol. And it's your understanding that they represent your father, Joseph Vol, and his claims on behalf of Mac Daddy. Yep. So she just announced that they have a conflict.
Yeah, keep going.
Your understanding that they represent your father in his capacity as half owner of Mac Daddy's, so that they can obtain court orders giving him control of Mac Daddy's. Yes. So you thought it would be a good idea to hire the same law firm that were representing Mac Daddy's interest to also represent Mackin' Out. Yes. Objection, Your Honor. That misstates the testimony just now. She answered the question. We don't represent Mac Daddy. Overruled. You said Mac Daddy's interest, and I understand the posture, so I'm not worried I'll be confused or misled. And by the way, folks, these questions and answers is why lawyers can't do what these two did. Yeah, of course, Caitlin Ball would love these lawyers. Of course they know everything. Of course they could represent her very well. That is why they can't. That's why they have those ethical rules. Yeah. It's completely unfair to let them represent her after they represent her dad.
So finish that excerpt about the conflict of interest letter.
Did you get a conflict of interest letter from LeClaire Ryan that said you need to waive any conflicts between us representing you and Mackin' Out as well as Mac Daddy? Objection, attorney-client privilege. She's given advice of counsel. I'm going to sustain the objection. That probably does get into attorney-client privilege, but I think it's important to know whether or not she understood there was a conflict of interest.
Right.
So now what happens at the next hearing?
All right. So what happens is, we have a couple of days of, evidence, and there's more, other witnesses. All the whole transcripts are available at the link at the top of this document for the entire proceeding. So on June 10th, we get the decision the next morning. She had already said that she was planning on ruling on it very quickly. And sure enough, she delivers an oral ruling the next morning, which there's a transcript of, and you can read it here. And basically, before you read it, she basically says, injunction denied. I find that Mac Daddy's has not met the burden of proving either a likelihood of success on its claims, nor if they're allowed to open, and if Mac and Out is allowed to open in these two locations. I find that Mac Daddy's hasn't established irreparable harm. So the explanation is the excerpt, and I guess go ahead, Mike.
I know there's the law, but no reparable harm. She's saying that the locations that Mac Daddy wanted to open, another competitor is going to open in those same locations, and she said
that's what we have expert witnesses for, to establish what the lost value is for that. It's ridiculous.
Right, but you can establish the exact lost value, but it's mind-boggling. The
lost market, the lost
location, and she's letting his former business partner open competitors in 2 locations, but he hasn't established what harm is there going to be.
Exactly. Well, let me read how ridiculous the ruling is. So she even writes, it remains unclear as to what roles Joseph Vol and Caitlin Vol played and continue to play in Mac and Out. What are you talking about? She just admitted under oath every exact detail about what her and Joseph Vol's roles are. That's a ridiculous statement, and so that should lay the groundwork for the rest of it. So she goes, we cannot conclude the plaintiff has met his burden of. Go ahead.
She's either too stupid to be a judge or too biased.
Well, I'm only giving facts. So you could give characterization. Can you scroll, Lisa, a little bit?
Bruce has some limits as to what he can say about a judge. I'm not a lawyer, so I can say them.
Yeah. So the court cannot conclude. Wait for the scroll. That the plaintiff has met the burden of proving a likelihood of success on the merits. So somehow proving that they were secretly using a lawsuit on behalf of Mac Daddy's as cover to open up Mac and Out in the locations that Mac Daddy's was owed isn't a likelihood of success on the merits, and fail to establish no adequate remedy at law, meaning money. Courts and juries are frequently asked to determine the value of business opportunities or contracts lost to tortious conduct. Indeed, the arguments advanced focused on lost customers, sales, profits, brand recognition, which in turn leads to lost sales, quintessential economic damages. What she's saying is that the reason you have injunctions is because it's really impossible to figure out accurately in any kind of logical way the value of the harm caused. And so you prevent it from being caused. And she rationalized that it'd be simple to just find out what you are owed in money because 2 locations never opened, were taken over by a competitor, and it's ridiculous. So she finishes with an exhortation that the parties get together and mediate a settlement whereby everybody can move on and divorce from one another. So that's an ironic thing.
Let's realize here, Vol is accusing Dunn of theft. Dunn is accusing Vol of double dealing, and she says what you guys need to do is iron out your differences.
Yeah, exactly.
Only a judge could say something so asinine.
All right, now here we go. Now this is where we realize that she is not going to do a thing. On June 11th, she hears we bring an actual motion directly on the conflict, and we ask that she, in the exercise of her judicial authority, enforce the rules of professional conduct and disqualify the 2 lawyers due to their conflict. And this is the excerpt.
So let me read it. All right. So the last motion is a motion.
You read the court. Let me. You want to read me and the court?
I'll be the court. You'll be yourself.
All right.
The last motion is a motion to disqualify LeClaire Ryan for representing Caitlin Ball and the Mac and Out entities, as well as for sanctions.
In this case, Your Honor, the rule says that a lawyer shall not represent a client if it involves a concurrent conflict of interest, which exists if the representation of one client will be directly adverse to another. We have Mac Daddy's, LeClaire Ryan on the docket representing Mac Daddy's, LLC, Mac Daddy's Monroe, Mac Daddy's Fairfield. Now they are representing the Mac and Out defendants that are trying to take over the locations from, or that have taken over the locations that were due to be Mac Daddy's locations. Now, there's an exception in the rule if the representation does not involve the assertion of a claim by one client against another client represented by the same lawyer in the same litigation or same proceedings before any tribunal. And they can't meet this except this can't be met. They clearly represent Mac and Out, which is against Mac Daddies, in the same litigation or consolidated litigation before this tribunal. They spent the whole week using all the information they've gained in 7 months of representation of Mac Daddies to destroy Mac Daddies. You got to scroll. And now Attorney AC responds. Go ahead, Mike. You can.
All right, I'll be Attorney AC and the court. Mr. Dunn does not have the right to select counsel for his opponents. They have the right to select counsel, despite the fact Mr. Dunn and his counsel would like to think there are, for example, settlement opportunities when one and not the other, or that for some reason Leclerc Ryan isn't adhering to the rules of ethics. It's made up. It's conjecture put in the form of a motion. There's no basis for this motion to disqualify.
Okay, now before you read the court, just while you're reading this, this is the judge acknowledging she's fully aware that this is a conflict of interest. Go ahead.
The Vol versus Dunn case includes derivative causes of action on behalf of Mac Daddies. The Dunn versus Vol case, in which the Mac and Out parties are defendants, involve claims that Mac and Out has sort of tortiously competed as opposed to fairly competed, and that Caitlin Vol entered into a civil conspiracy with Joseph Vol to harm Mac Daddies. And in light of that fact, in the Vol versus Dunn case, Vol purports to be bringing cause of action for the benefit of Mac Daddies. It would seem to me that the claims that are being met put Joseph Vol in his derivative capacity adverse to Caitlin Vol in her capacity in the consolidated action. It would seem to me that Vol bringing claims derivatively on behalf of Mac Daddies is carrying their banner as it were Mac Daddy's banner, and Caitlin Vol is accused of trying to harm Mac Daddies. Isn't it cleaner for Caitlin Vol and Mac and Out to go elsewhere? And now Attorney AC. I think that's a big part of the issue that resulted in us filing an appearance for Caitlin Vol and Mac and Out on purposes of this hearing, because there is so much history and so much information that just made more sense to do it that way. I will represent to the court, and I do not believe there is an ethical conflict at this point in time. I mean, again, of course she wants you. That's why you're not supposed to have her. And
wow.
You're sensitive to one that could certainly arise. And the lawyer, yes, we are certainly aware of it. We are certainly sensitive to it. The judge, I can sit here and say quite comfortably it's a lot cleaner if Caitlin Vol and Mac and Out got separate counsel. Whether that will be the result of a court order or a notice from you that, in fact, you've done that before I decide the motion, then that's what it is. And I will reserve on those issues. So
she's saying that she's going to, if necessary, rule to disqualify them. Don't make me do it. I'll reserve. Go ahead and find different counsel.
Do they find different counsel?
So let's see. July 9th, now a month later, we're in court on I don't even remember the reason why we might have been there that day.
I'm going to be the judge again. This is fun. I have the motions, disqualifications, and for sanctions, which I have not yet turned to. And if, as you heard at the beginning, I'm probably not going to get a chance to turn to until the end of the trial that I have starting July 22nd.
So we still would like to wait for the court's ruling on the disqualification motion. I think that'll largely determine our position in terms of mediating going forward. So we're begging her to rule on this disqualification, because we can't mediate with a conflicted lawyer. We need we need lawyers that aren't conflicted, that we can have a good faith mediation with.
Right. For those who don't know, mediation is less formal, but it's a way to try to come to an agreement without like formal objections. You come in a room. Yeah. And Bruce didn't want to go into mediation and have these two lawyers that he believes are conflicted and trying to negotiate a deal. So the judge, okay, yes, okay, they are looming on the radar, but as I'm going to get to it, as I've said, I got a crazy next couple of weeks. By the way, this is why it's great to be a judge. Well, all the excuses doesn't matter. What are you going to do? She's a judge. Miss AC, you have indicated at the argument that the question of whether or not Miss Vol and Mackinac entities would be seeking outside counsel was still out there. Is there anything to report? If there isn't, that's fine. And the attorney, there's nothing to report other than Caitlin Vol and Mackinac entities which do not wish to seek other counsel. Miss Vol would love to have this conflict of interest in her favor.
Yeah, so basically AC's saying, nope, we decided we're not looking for new counsel anymore, Judge. Okay, then those are on my list.
Okay, well, I guess I'll have to get to it. So the judge is saying at some point I'm going to rule. And so the judge is indicating that even though she's got a crazy schedule, she will rule on it at some point.
Now, she said this is, I believe, the 8th date in court of the conflict being in existence, that she hasn't done a thing. So now what happens is later in July, after all of this jerking us along, this is she says, oh,
counsel continues to complain about a purported conflict of interest on the part of LeClaire Ryan in their representation of both Vol as well as the Mackinac entities. Mr. Matzkin believes his opposing counsel has acted in derogation of their obligations under the rules of professional conduct, but he should make such belief known to the proper disciplinary authorities. This litigation is not the appropriate forum to raise adjudication such accusations. She, after saying she's going to rule on it, she's now, after putting it off, after saying the reason she hadn't ruled on it was because she's crazy busy, she's now saying, actually, I'm not the one to rule on it. If you think there's a conflict, file a complaint with the bar.
Right. And now a lot of time had gone by where they could have, who knows what went on. But now skip down to page 13 and look at the rule that I quote, 2.15, and then let's go back up and pick up the chronology.
Which one is it? 2 point, where is it?
Yeah, the Code of Judicial Conduct 2.15.
Right
I think it's the first one on the page, right?
All right, let me read it. A judge having knowledge that a lawyer has committed a violation of the rules of professional conduct that raises a substantial question regarding a lawyer's honesty, trustworthy, or fitness as a lawyer in other respects shall take appropriate action, including informing the appropriate authority.
Okay, now let's give her a pass that this wasn't it's ludicrous, but it was. But let's give her a pass that it wasn't a substantial question, and she didn't have to report it to the appropriate authority. But D, now read D.
A judge who receives information indicating a substantial likelihood that a lawyer has committed a violation of the rules of professional conduct shall take appropriate action.
Right.
I'm not a lawyer, Bruce, but I believe that the two most important words in the law are shall and may. And I guess shall not, and may.
And she didn't do a thing.
Either requires you to do something, shall, forbids you from doing something, shall not, or may allows you to do something.
Right.
In this case, if a judge has been made aware of a violation of a rule of professional conduct, which is a conflict of interest, that's one rule, she shall take appropriate action.
Yeah. And this isn't just spitting on the sidewalk level ethical rule. Right. This is like analogous to, like armed robbery ethical rule. You know what I mean?
Right. She was required to take appropriate action. She told Bruce, go to the bar and seek action that way. And let's get back.
All right, so go back up, Lisa, to where we left off.
Page 9.
Late July.
Got it.
I hope people are following, and I'm not really watching the chat because I'm trying to pay attention to the document, but I hope people are following. And
Lisa, what are people saying in the chat room? Are they getting it?
Yeah, they are. There's some questions. They're absolutely listening to you.
Yeah, we'll definitely do questions too. So, all right, so sure. So what do we do? We file a grievance. Dunn files a grievance. I worked on it. I wrote it, obviously, and he filed it, and it gets filed on August 14th, and it details the conflict. Go ahead. You can scroll past that. And the grievance, there's a link to it right there, the icon. So anybody who wants to access the document can easily link to it and read it. And then, so now we're back in court for a hearing with Dooley on September 11th, 2013. And here, you went too far a little bit. Go back.
I did? Okay, sorry.
Yeah. And go ahead, and Mike, you read what Conway says.
Oh, okay.
All right. So Attorney Conway says, despite what Mr. Matzkin and Mr. Sexton have said, I represent Mac Daddies. They don't represent Mac Daddies. They did. Mr. Vol would fire them. They do not represent Mac Daddies. They represent Mr. Dunn acting in his derivative capacity, and they implicate his ownership interest. This guy, Conway and AC, they will say whatever they need to say to strengthen their case in that specific moment, because they know that their blatant hypocrisy will never be called out.
So he just contradicted himself directly.
Right. Yeah. All right. So he keeps going. Attorney Conway, our clients are tired of spending money here. So now they've decided enough is enough. They're going to sell his interest on the auction block, and he's out. There is no derivative standing. There will be no more derivative standing. And then Attorney Sexton, the judgment that they seek to enforce was purchased by Mr. Vol. Mr. Vol is now the judgment creditor seeking to sell Mr. Dunn's share. And the court says, as is his right. So what happens in the interim is this guy Vol finds out that Dunn owed some landlord a bunch of money. The landlord had a judgment. He went to the landlord. They made an agreement. Dunn bought the Vol bought it. Vol bought the judgment against Dunn. Against Dunn, and then he went back and said, well, this is how much he owes me, and that is exactly what the ownership interest is worth, so I'm just going to flip the two.
Well, yeah, so what he did was, all right, so Judge Dooley is saying, as is his right, Mr. Sexton. That's important. I put a parentheses there because this portended her ruling.
Can I answer this? Did the judge have someone to advise her or even read this for her? No, the judge advises. There is no boss of the judge. There is kind of, but not. No, on a specific case, the judge is at the top of the food chain. You can appeal it, but no, the judge has clerks working for them, but no, the judge is the thing. They are at the top. No one advises the judge. In the courtroom, the judge is God.
So now, what happens is we have another mediation, and if you go back to, you don't have to go back on the scroll, but Judge Dooley at the end of her ruling, saying, oh, we're going to let them take the locations, and she exhorted us to reach an agreement through mediation. Okay, well, so in September, after everything, Dunn figured, and we, as lawyers, Sexton and I, figured the best and only hope he has is to just be able to go back and get Mac Daddies back and separate from anything to do with the Vols and drop all claims against Vols, all claims against Mac and Out. You lost the locations, and just get back and try to compete and save your company that you worked so hard to start. And so in September, we offer to do that. We offer all of that. And then let's see what happens. But the reason, but that wouldn't fly. Why? Because now Val said, nope. Now I insist that you retire the name of Mac Daddies. The only way I'll settle and not continue to sue you is if you give up Mac Daddies as a brand and close the Facebook network that you started, so that there's no competitor in the macaroni and cheese restaurant market for Mac and Out. Right. So I write to the judge. I'm sorry?
Which, of course, he wanted because he was starting a competitor.
Exactly. So I write to the judge, Agati, who's another judge who handled the mediation, and I go, Attorney AC's and Conway's conflict of interest, while representing Mac Daddies and also representing Mac and Out against Mac Daddies, continues to be tremendously prejudice our rights in the litigation and the fair administration of justice, and assured the failure of your mediation efforts which, as they know, would be nothing but a charade on their part and a waste of your valuable time and ours. Judge Agati didn't respond to that. He didn't care either. So what happens is months go by. We're waiting for the outcome of the grievance. And on March 25th of 2014, the grievance done filed against AC and Conway 7 months earlier were dismissed in written decisions by panel counsel Michael Giorgetti. So that's a practicing private lawyer who has a side gig doing probable cause review of grievances for the statewide grievance committee and deciding whether there's enough to go forward with a further investigation. So he takes this grievance and finds no probable cause, but didn't acknowledge the appearances for macking out or even mention macking out or duly allowing it.
So in his no probable cause means basically he got nothing. That's the legal equivalent. But this guy Giorgetti in his thing, he explains the facts of the case, except for the most important fact, the centerpiece of it. He never says that the whole center of the grievance is that they represented Mac Daddy and then they represented Mackin' Out and they represented him concurrently, and this is a blatant conflict of interest. He never addresses that. And then he addresses everything else, and he says, well, there's no probable cause to any grievance. So of course there isn't. You didn't address the actual grievance. He just ignored the grievance. That's a whitewash.
He ignored Mackin' Out. He didn't even mention its existence. He pretended it wasn't. It didn't exist or wasn't mentioned in the grievance. He just pretended.
So one of your people, the debt issue is it is that this guy Dunn owed a separate person a judgment.
Well, yeah, we're going to explain that how he used that.
Right, but Volpe saw an opportunity to buy that judgment and use that judgment to get half.
Which we're about to get to. That's the second part of the whole outrage.
It was a separate issue that is now about to be inserted by Volpe and Judge Kerry Dooley.
Go ahead, Lisa.
Mm-hmm. All right, hold on. I'm sorry. I lost the screen. All right, let's check in the chat. All right, here we go.
Yeah. So.
All right, so let me sum up Judge Dooley's order. So she looks at all of this, and she basically said, Dunn is the worst, most horrible person I've ever seen. This isn't just theft. This is like horrible theft. So she adds it up. He owes about $150,000. I'm going to triple it, and I'm going to add in court costs. And she claimed that his theft amounted to unfair trade practices. And that's how she justified it. And she just slammed him and kept calling him a terrible, awful, horrible person. And then she gets to what Volpe did. And and there's something called the LLC Act. And what the LLC Act says is if you have this kind of a judgment and someone doesn't have the money, but they have a business, in order to collect the judgment, you have to work out a monthly payment arrangement that you can't just grab the business.
It's called a charging order. In simple terms, you get to attach their income from the LLC.
Right. In the LLC Act, it also says, but if there's an operating agreement, nothing in this law stops you from following the operating agreement.
Yeah.
So Dooley says, well, yeah, there's this LLC Act, and yes, the LLC Act does bar this, but I noticed there's an operating agreement. And I also noticed that in the operating agreement, it does not specifically stop you from doing this. So since the operating agreement doesn't specifically stop you from doing this, I'm going to let Volpe blatantly violate the LLC Act. And why would the operating agreement specifically stop him from doing it when the LLC Act does it? This is what conservatives call legislating from the bench. She made up a law. She made up her own exception to the clear LLC Act without any legislation or any appellate precedent. She made it up out of air. He was the lawmaker on the bench and created her own law.
Yeah. So let's see how she rationalized this ridiculous, judgment. So first of all, after that injunction hearing, she the next morning issued this oral ruling that says, I find that they get to take the locations and no injunction, and you haven't established a likelihood of success on the merits or anything. Here, I don't remember how long it took, but it was at least a month or more, maybe 2 since the trial. By the way, let me make a sidebar here. I moved in the summer of 2013 to Armenia, and Noah Sexton, my co-counsel, was thereafter the counsel who would appear in court, and I continued to work very intensively on the litigation remotely, but I wasn't the one appearing in court. So Noah Sexton handled the entire trial, and then that led to this decision in November of 2014, where she issued a 43-page written decision where she found that he stole about $140 something thousand, and then she called it theft. Now, this was his own company. He was working full time. He was taking an income and documenting everything, and she called it theft, which enabled her
unfair trade practices.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that. Let's start with the theft first. She cites the statute 52,564, meaning times 3. So I consider this theft. So now automatically now we're going to triple it. So now 150 becomes 450. Then scroll a little bit. And she says, without any analysis, and that's her entire discussion, that excerpt, that 1 4-line paragraph is the entire discussion of how this became theft and triple damages under the statute. Then their entire discussion under the Connecticut Unfair Trade Practices Act is this 3 lines. An award of attorney fees is appropriate in this case. The court will schedule a hearing in which the plaintiff may produce evidence of his attorney fees in pursuing the cut-book claim, Connecticut Unfair Trade Practices Act, individually and derivatively. So what she's saying is that somehow the Unfair Trade Practices Act, the Consumer Protection Act, which probably every state has one, is to protect customers and competitors from fraud and unfair business practices. Somehow she, without any analysis, applied that to Dunn taking money from his own company that he worked full time at, that he started. There were no customers involved and there were no competitors involved. And yet she applied this so that they can then submit all of their time as attorneys and claim what's called a fee shifting. And she added $350,000 of attorney fees. So now the total is $800,000. Okay. So the part about, so what happens is Vol had bought that other judgment from a landlord and then scheduled a marshal sale to satisfy that judgment. And to satisfy that judgment, he sold himself Dunn's half of Mac Daddy's. All this occurred in 2013, early 2014. And now in November of 2014, Judge Dooley ruled, as she did, that this was all valid. She ruled that he validly sold himself Dunn's 50% ownership of Mac Daddy's at a marshal sale to satisfy the years-old judgment by a former landlord.
What she let Vol do is he gets to value the business.
Well, he made up his own price.
Right.
And she called it property. She called his ownership of an LLC property, and it's not property. So it property is the money that he would earn from it, that Vol, if he had a valid judgment, can collect from Dunn's income. But think about it. So if he owes him 800 or 100,000, whatever it is, so Dunn's income comes and Vol gets to take it until he's paid off. Instead, he gets ownership of the whole company forever. So are you kidding me? You can make $20 million if he franchises this company, which was what Dunn's opportunity would have been. And yet now it's all Vol's, and it's insane. So now the other thing is Dunn could have brought somebody to that marshal sale to try to bid against Vol. But they knew that, and so they made sure he wouldn't know when it was. So what they did is he went into bankruptcy, Dunn did, to stop the marshal sale initially. When you file bankruptcy, it stays proceedings. So about 3 months later, that bankruptcy was dismissed, and AC and Conway had secretly planned to reschedule the marshal sale the next day whenever it got dismissed from bankruptcy court. They wouldn't know when that would be, but whenever it would be, they were going to call the marshal and say, tomorrow's the day. And they got together. Dunn never knew. And before you knew it, the marshal certified an auction to Vol, to himself, of Dunn's 50% ownership in Mac Daddy's, and now claimed to own 100% of it, and duly affirmed it. And the last paragraph on the screen now, Judge Dooley's decision stripped Dunn of standing to sue Vol and Mackinac on behalf of Mac Daddies. Conway foretold this on September 11th, and Judge Dooley signaled her preordained ruling on that eventual issue, as is his right, Mr. Sexton. So last September 11, 2013, Conway is saying there's not going to be any more derivative standing. We're going to freeze him out. We're going to sell his ownership interest, and he'll be out of the company altogether. And Noah Sexton, my co-counsel, said, "Yeah, Your Honor, they're planning on selling this unrelated judgment." And she goes, "As is his right, Mr. Sexton." Right. And in this 43-page decision, it's as if Mackinac never existed. There isn't a mention of it, not Caitlin Vol, not the conflict, not the litigation.
LLC Act says the exact opposite. It is not his right to do this.
Exactly.
She used the lack of the operating agreement saying what the LLC Act already said.
Yeah, that's Mike. That's getting too legalistic for this discussion. Right. But yeah, the point is, she knew that Vol had never given a dime for 50% ownership of Mac Daddies on paper, and awarded him 100% ownership.
Thing into Mac Daddy, and after a year and a half or 2 years, he walks away with 100% of Mac Daddy.
Paid zero, got the locations, got the company, got the market, got everything, and never gave a dime.
Pretty amazing.
And that's it. That's the macaroni and cheese cover up.
Wow. That's like crazy. So your client definitely took money from the business. Why should he punish
from his own business?
It was his own business. It's like you work in a little candy store on the corner, and at the end of the day, you need $50 to buy groceries. You know, I mean,
he took more than groceries, and you may think that what he did wasn't right, but there was a much simpler, orderly way to right the wrong.
At the very beginning, he said, "Let's figure out how much I took and decide if Vol's entitled to even out, and let's even it out."
Correct. What the judge should have said is, you took $150,000. You have 9 months or however many months. Pay him back. He has half interest, so he gets half. However, even if she wanted to screw him over, you took 150, so you got to give him 150. If she had done that, we wouldn't be here, because that would have been a fair and orderly way.
Well, it would have been incorrect, but at least it would have been like, not this.
Right.
Yeah, why shouldn't he be punished?
But Bruce wouldn't be arguing over this a year later. Now, Bruce, keep in mind, this big law firm gets away with this blatant conflict of interest, all of this double dealing. What is the Connecticut bar, the same bar that ignored this? What are they going after you for?
So
how does it relate to your current bar complaint?
Yeah, this will be, hopefully it'll be another stream, because we don't want to get too deep into it, but everybody probably watching has heard of this, and the people on the other side of the what the hell story have exploited it to the hilt.
We'll get into that.
Yeah. But so the Connecticut bar, some miserable client in the summer of 2022 filed a grievance because she was trying to get out of a $500 fee, and they saw that come across the desk of the statewide bar council and decided to railroad me with it. And the disciplinary council it was assigned to had to alter a rules language, add words to it or not, to try to cram a square peg of a violation into a round hole of a rule. And I decided to fight back against it. I have a perfect, clean disciplinary record. I'm very proud of it. For 27 years of practicing law, 2 states, and I was not allowed to allow these hacks to just get a notch in their belt at my expense, at the expense of my clean record. And I decided one way to fight back was to show how they're attacking what they view as a powerless solo lawyer who I don't have a lot of political connections. And whereas these 2 lawyers and a judge, they covered up what was egregious misconduct, like top level egregious unethical
they are
conduct,
going
whereas they're making up what would be, if even it was true against me, less than spitting on the sidewalk, just so they don't have to
They're
dismiss
going
it.
after Bruce over a $500 dispute for now going on 3 years.
It's not even the $500 dispute. That's in the past. That's bullshit. They made up something different.
They said he
Oh
didn't
my God,
explain
man.
his fees clearly enough. Going on 3 years. These two represented one fast food restaurant, and then that restaurant's competitor. And when it suited them, they would claim they represent one,
Yeah.
they can't represent the other, and the bar looks the other way.
Go down to the end, Lisa, and let's look at the recap and question.
The difference is one is a solo practitioner, the other one is a big law firm, and that is why it's happening.
Yeah, but now there's some important questions here that I want to just to finish. So Judge Dooley, the recap, refused to act in response to an open conflict in proceedings before her over the course of months and numerous live court dates. And then the statewide grievance committee, through Mike Giorgetti, ignored the conflict and whitewashed Judge Dooley's allowance of the conflict. The conflict continued with impunity. And after trial, Judge Dooley awarded Vol 100% ownership of Mac Daddy's and entered a judgment that Dunn now owed Mac Daddy's, i.e. Vol, almost $800,000, despite Vol never having paid for his 50% ownership of Mac Daddy's. Why did Judge Dooley hear the DQ motion and then, without acting on it for more than 2 months, send us to the disciplinary authorities? How could AC and Conway engage in conflict with no concern about disciplinary issues? How could Giorgetti ignore the conflict and Mackin out in the grievance dismissal he wrote? And what other disciplinary matters have been covered up by the statewide grievance committee and Giorgetti or others, like this was covered up? And then I forget what's on. And then the bottom, if we may just quick go through these rules. We already went through the rule that Judge Dooley violated, where she didn't do a thing.
It seems to me that this judge is just like seriously questionable here, and I'm quite surprised someone like, I don't know, named Fox didn't cover this. You know what I mean? Because they love
she claims to have looked at it and that it's boring or something. Whatever. She didn't look at it. She wouldn't be able to cover. This would make her head explode if she tried to understand it. She's not smart enough.
Doesn't really follow her narrative that she's on right now. All right, go ahead. So the rules 1 to 7.
Yeah, so 1.7 is the conflict of interest rule. It just says you cannot represent a client involved in a concurrent conflict of interest, which exists if the representation of one client is directly adverse to another client, Mackin out and Mac Daddy's. Notwithstanding, though, you can do it if it doesn't involve an assertion of a claim by one client against another in the same litigation, which this did. So this, exception doesn't apply, and each affected client gives informed consent confirmed in writing. Now, when you are a lawyer for an organization, 1.113, you have to relegate the interests of the member of the organization who hired you to the interests of the organization. In other words, the organization's interests are first.
From Tina Savage, I'm no lawyer, but how did this judge get away with this ruling? So in that courtroom, the judge is at the highest level. So that's how she got away with it. Now you can appeal it. Unfortunately, what happened was Bruce moved out of country, and there was an appeal written. It never got filed. But keep in mind, appeals court judges don't like to embarrass other judges. So they usually don't come down hard. So even an appeal wasn't a guarantee. But the judge gets away with it because the judge is at the top. They get away with this. This is a bad rule.
Well, they want to know, though, why do we appeal? But the appeal, at this point, it was impossible. Dunn had nothing to appeal, no wherewithal, no funds, nothing. And that's why the decision was written that way, to create such a mountain. He would have had to do two complete proceedings.
Can I just speak about Megan really quickly?
Well, no, hang on. Wait, let me finish this point. One second. He would have had to first appeal and get an appeal court to rule that no, of course you still own 50%. Then he would have had to start the legal actions against Mackin out and Caitlin Vol and Joe Vol, now with his reinstated 50% derivative standing. And it was too big of a mountain to climb.
Right. Look, there always are theoretically legal things you can do, but in practicality, this costs a lot of money. So
Right.
it's very hard. Don had been wiped out by this. When I spoke to him, he says he's doing really well financially now. As far as Megan, I worked with Megan for a long time. I worked with her for a year together. She is smart enough to do this. This is actually in her wheelhouse. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, she has decided to take on one side of this, what the Hales case. So she is willfully ignoring it, unfortunately. But this is the type of story that she has covered many times. Look up a guy named Chuck Haynes. Google her and his name. She's covered these kinds of stories. She is smart enough to know.
That's why I'm saying, like, I mean, I gave her. I can't accept what she's doing because to me, she's following one narrative and not even paying attention. Like, to me, this case would definitely seem like it would be something open.
When I worked with her, that wasn't how she was. She
Yeah.
read motions, she read orders, she read things, she understood them, she understands. And it's unfortunate. I think she knows what Hales is doing, and she just doesn't care. The other thing is, when we were working together,
She's profiting. She's making money off it.
Numbers weren't near the impact we had was 10 times the impact she has now. However, the amount of money she was making, the amount of viewers she had was infinitesimal compared to what it is now. And that's unfortunate because she was very professional. She did great work. We got lots of interesting video, audio, all kinds of things. She got an audio of a rapist admitting to a rape. I mean, that kind of stuff. And that's what we were playing. She is smart enough to understand this thing. This is the sort of story she should cover. She has covered it. She's choosing not to cover it because she's on Hale's side. She's Team Hale's. And that's why she's not covering it. But she is a good journalist. She's a very good journalist, not with Hales, but in general.
I definitely appreciate you saying that. Because, like I said, this to me seems like something she would cover. You know, and I think it would show. You know,
I covered stuff like this.
Yeah, and
kinds of stories. She can understand this. I read the order by Judge Dooley. It's 43 pages. It took me a while. She would probably read it faster than me, and she can understand these orders.
Right.
I don't think she's looked at this case. I know that her viewers haven't, because they comment underneath our videos, and they make comments like, well, I heard this was stupid, and now I can see it. They don't understand the details. They don't care about the details because the narrative in their world is that Bruce is stupid. And
clearly not. But
if Bruce is trying to right or wrong, then that challenges the narrative, and that's really what's going on. It's unfortunate. This is an important story because this is how a judge can legally steal something from one person to another, and it's an important story because the judge in question is now a federal judge where she gets the most important cases in the state of Connecticut. And so it's important for those two reasons. And it's important that people know who this judge is, just in case Trump is stupid enough to try to give her a promotion. But she won't tell her audience, and it's too bad. That's not how she was with me. We never, when we worked together, we were never afraid of stories, and we never were so committed to a narrative that if something challenged it, that we would continue with that narrative. We never did that.
Mm-hmm.
So the way she is in this case is not the way that we worked. It's not the way I remember her. It's not the way she was for a very, very long time. She's not acting the way she did. It is drawing her a lot more attention and presumably a lot more money, and maybe that's why she's doing it. But she is, in general, an ethical journalist.
Good. I'm glad to hear someone have your opinion the way, I definitely appreciate it.
I haven't followed the Hills. I've tried to watch some of these videos. I don't even understand the appeal. But I didn't read the follow-up deposition, but I read about a third of the first time that Bruce deposed him. This is frivolous, this lawsuit. And it's clear he's doing it just to create content and to be a bully. He wants to send a message, don't go making fun of me. But this is a guy with 1 million followers on YouTube, and he's suing people who are talking trash about him on Facebook. It's as frivolous as it gets. It's shameful. And look, we're a litigious society, and this is another example. And look, if we're going to sue to create contact, we're creating another reason to sue. We shouldn't be this way. People should try to iron out their differences. Court should be the last resort, not the first resort. And this guy Hales is using it as the first resort. It's the worst kind of thing to do.
He's done it and threatened several people.
I've had custody. I've gone to court for other people. I've gone to court for myself. It sucks. It's horrible. No one should want to be in court unless you're a lawyer for something that involves your life. And to sue on something this frivolous, it's horrible. It's awful to put people through this.
Yeah,
we just got to hope that the federal magistrate judge on the case is going to see through it and put a stop to it, because otherwise it makes a mockery of litigation in the federal courts.
Yeah, no, it does. Look, the two words that came up, these are legal words, is non-responsive and argumentative. Every time Bruce asked him what I'd call a meritorious question, which got to the heart of the matter. How is this defamatory? How does this affect your business? How do you lose money as a result of this? Right. He either was non-responsive, meaning that he answered the question he wanted to answer as opposed to the question asked, or he'd argumentative. And the reason he was doing that is because he didn't have an answer. Because it's not defamatory. It doesn't hurt his business. He's lost no money.
He's made money.
He argues or he responds to a question not asked.
Yeah.
And that's what was going on. And I know Megan knows that. No one who read that deposition could think this is a meritorious lawsuit. No one.
Yeah. It's insane to me. I'm just like, I can't believe. And the thing is, like what you were saying before, like he's getting mad because people don't like him. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, you can't see mine.
If you go to the reviews of To Kill a Mockingbird, you're going to find some negative reviews. That's To Kill a Mockingbird. If you have enough of a following, there will be people who don't like you, who don't like your content. That's the deal. Restaurants do this. Restaurants sue for bad Yelp reviews. It's the same kind of a thing. It's just awful to try to settle something like that in court. And that's what he's doing. But you're right, for content, it's even more despicable. He's doing it because he saw that this story creates more traffic.
It's contrived. It's all contrived, so he has content.
Completely contrived. And as I said, when I was...
By the way, he's doing this while mocking everybody under the sun, and actually defaming them.
His fans love it. So he's gaining... He gets a lot of traction out of it. I'm disappointed that Megan did it. I didn't know that much about it when I started covering the Mac Daddy story, but read any 40 pages of that deposition. You can see clearly that this guy has no meritorious case, because every time Bruce asked him a question that was meritorious.
Wait till we see the transcript for the second depo, the one that had to go down to Florida to do it live in front of the judge. We're still waiting on that transcript any day, where it's even more direct, the exhibits and what's the defamatory.
So this question, I don't understand how it wasn't recognized that there wasn't a clear case of a breach of contract. The other two locations were never open. Because
it was recognized,
right? Because I don't think the court ever allowed that particular question to be ordered on.
Well, you know what though, that was part. That would have been the lawsuit by Mac Daddies against Mac and Out, and I think
by the judge giving Ball Dunn's half. Dunn could not sue on that anymore without getting his half back. It gets sort of legally complicated because Mac Daddies was wronged. Dunn, if he owes 0% of Mac Daddies, can't sue because he's no longer a part of Mac Daddies. He would have to get his piece and then sue, and that's why.
That was the legal mountain that Judge Dooley's decision calculatingly built for him to overcome.
Yeah. Any other questions that your audience has? These are good questions.
Yeah, please.
Let's see. I think you answered them because I saw some and then you went right into it and answered it. I was like, okay, because just by telling the story.
Yeah.
Let me
You know,
see.
I've been trying the connection here, the crossover is because Mike, I had been trying to find YouTuber to do this macaroni and cheese scandal. And I found, Larry Foreman, DUI guy, who was interested in it and scheduled me for a live stream back in March and then just canceled. And it was only through that contact with him that I noticed this case, What the Hell's, because he was big in this case at the time. And the storyline was about the judge in Florida State Court, grudge judge, and being, disqualified and all that stuff.
So
And
that
that's
would
what,
appeal to you because of what's going on here with the judge.
Right.
Makes sense. Go ahead.
yeah, well, yeah. So that, and then I realized I could help. Look, there was this lawsuit, and these people needed a lawyer. He was bragging about how he was going to use the federal litigation to take their land and to steamroll them. Who's going to help them? No lawyers are ever going to help them. They have no money. And, it was a pretty simple motion that could be filed to challenge the federal diversity jurisdiction. That bought them some time. Everyone blames me for delaying it for 5 months, but I didn't know it would take 5 months for a motion to be decided. And during that time, everything changed because I decided to get involved, as their actual counsel, if not in court initially, and help find lawyers. And then I realized I could appear in court in Florida, pro hoc vice, and now we're waiting on some rulings.
Michael, they're asking for your link for your channel.
I'm at michaelvolpe.substack.com. michaelvolpe.substack.com, and you can get my subscription, both free and paid. And I've been following the Sean Combs case. I got at the top right now is an article about that case that you can check
You
out.
mean P. Diddy?
P. Diddy, yeah. One of his alleged rape victims reached out to me, so I've been covering that angle of it.
Wow.
Oh, really? Wow. Yeah, so it's Michael Volpe at
michaelvolpe.substack.com.
All righty.
He's very thorough.
Yeah. This story is up my wheelhouse. This is exactly the kind of stories I cover. And it's a lot of judicial stuff, some civil, a lot of custody, some wrongful convictions as well I've covered.
And we hope, that a legal journalist like that has a wide audience of legal community readership could pick up this story because it will have legs in that media.
It's important. People in the legal community should know what happened in this case. And let me add one last thing. To add insult to injury, there was an article in Forbes, which was a pretty big article, with a guy who is in this kind of like part of the law, who read the order and didn't contact Bruce or Dunn, and just based on the order wrote an article, and seeing how bad Judge Dooley treated Dunn, he basically treated him the same way. However, he did say that the order, that the logic was twisted, but he said, but it came to the right conclusion even if it wasn't done the right way, because he thought that, wow, this guy's such a bad guy, he deserves everything that he got, even though the way she got to the decision wasn't right. So
he had no idea about all that stuff about the macking out and none whatsoever. He only read the 43-page decision, which is as if none of that ever happened.
Right. Not only was Dunn smeared in court, he was then smeared in the press. And the guy didn't get back to me. And he should have reached out to Bruce or Dunn to try to get a better understanding. He didn't necessarily have to because you have an order, but
I've emailed him over the years.
If all you did was read the order, you would think what that guy was thinking, because she really slammed him, and quite ridiculously. She's like, "You're the worst, most horrible person ever." Even if you think what he did was wrong, you can't possibly think this is like that egregious that he deserves to just be slammed like he's an awful person. He's taking money.
Yeah, I've emailed that writer, that lawyer who wrote that Forbes article, and tried to get him to acknowledge that.
Right.
Maybe do a follow-up or something, but he hasn't responded.
When you're confronted with an alternative to what you wrote, it is ethically your duty to update so that the people who thought one thing can see the other side, and he didn't want to do that. And the journalist, and this guy, I guess, is both a lawyer and a journalist, they don't like to do that because they don't want to admit they're wrong. So it never went to federal court because, as Bruce said, by that point, Dunn was out of money. and Bruce had moved out of country. You know.
Oh no, I think she might be referring to the What the Hales case. I think.
Oh,
Um,
that did, yeah. That's
yeah,
a,
well, he filed the federal lawsuit, so it was his choice to file in a federal court, Rin.
Right.
Ed Michael's YouTube channel is posted.
right. And I have a YouTube channel.
Please subscribe.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sorry, I'm
All right.
doing. I'm
Well,
posting.
I want to say, thanks to first to Mike for really getting on this story, because look, it's an important story, and I want to continue to work with you to get it out there. And Lisa, thank you so much, because this is how we get it out here. Michael thinks that if we can get 3 or 4 series channels to do a segment like this, then it just starts to takes on a life of its own, and that's what we're looking for.
Feed on itself, hopefully. But yeah, no, it's important, and hopefully the people on one side of the Hales case, when the other side says this is a nothing burger, you guys can educate them on it's a lot more than a nothing burger.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good reading in that link, the transcript. So if anybody really wants to go further than just watching this, there's plenty to keep you occupied and learn more about it. And I'm available for anybody to contact with questions. The more people who know about it and understand it, the better. I'm hoping somebody, their friend or spouse is a lawyer that would love to, get involved in something like this. Who knows?
Okay.
The judge left done with no recourse at all. That's a question.
Well, it was effectively no recourse, because there had actually been the lawsuit filed by Dunn derivatively through for Mac Daddies to try to stop Mackinac from taking the locations. That injunction was denied. I believe what happened was when Dooley denied a motion for Dunn to be able to get funds to fund that lawsuit from Mac Daddies. Remember, Vol and his lawyers are in control of Mac Daddies through an injunction, the first injunction, and have complete control of the finances. There was an actual motion brought. Judge Dooley, can you at least have some money released from Mac Daddies to pay for the Mac Daddies lawsuit Dunn is bringing to try to save it from Mackinac stealing its locations? She denied that. Oh no, that would be interfering with Judge Radcliffe's injunction. I won't do that. So at some point, the decision was made to withdraw those claims or that lawsuit until the resources were available to effectively pursue it. Now, by withdrawing it, unbeknownst, that sort of opened a door for them and Judge Dooley to do what they did and deprive Dunn of the standing to reinstitute that lawsuit in the name of Mac Daddies now that he had 0%.
All right.
I hope that makes sense.
Let me shorten it. In theory, there's always recourse. In practice, there often isn't, because none of this is free. So yes, in theory, there was ways for him to make everything right, but it would have cost so much money that he didn't have.
And she knew it. They knew it.
Right. And you're asking then you're asking him to find a lawyer who's willing to work for a year for free, and maybe at the end you can get some money, maybe. And in reality, that's not going to happen. So practically no. Theoretically, yes, but practically no.
Right. Wow. It's good. It's weird too how there's a bunch of similarities as to how and why this case went the way it went, and how like Germ's playing his role. Like originally him taking John and Michelle to federal court was because they had no recourse. They had no money. They had no lawyer there. They're not even from there. He knew it, and he constantly talks about being able to sue. And I'm not here to win. I'm here to destroy, financially destroy. And
he read that in front of the judge.
He did?
He read that. Yep, I made him read it. He read it. I bring people to court to bankrupt them, not to win.
I've been sued, and that was not a meritorious lawsuit. And it's the same thing. That is not what the court is supposed to be there for. It's not supposed to be there to destroy by the litigation itself. It's supposed to be
but you're aware that he brought a motion to add us as defendants, Lisa and me and 4 others.
Because he wants you off their case. Because he can't bully them if they are represented by a lawyer. He can bully them if they're representing themselves. And that's why he's doing all of this.
Oh, he's
But
absolutely trying to
listen,
destroy me right now.
he is a lowlife, and the idea that Megan sold out because he's got 1 million followers to this lowlife, it's it's frustrating because she wasn't that kind of a journalist. She's not that kind of a journalist, but she sold out to a complete scumbag lowlife because the guy's got a lot of followers.
And when it's all said and done, he's not going to be there for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, but I am glad, and I do appreciate your opinion on her, and I absolutely respect the fact that you know.
Right. My opinion of her hasn't necessarily changed. We've been friends for a long time.
Right.
She's done a lot for me, and we were groundbreaking in the year that we worked together. We took on family court in a way that it had never been taken on before. But as I said, some of this is society and the market. That work didn't bring her the kind of attention that this does. So, as a capitalist, what do you want her to do? When she was doing good, solid, in-depth work that was changing the world, it wasn't making her a lot of money. It wasn't bringing her that many viewers. This is. So, if you're following the money, you're following the where it's growing, this is what's doing it. I don't know if you necessarily can blame her if what you're trying to do is create a big audience for yourself and make money. And that is what
but there are also laws. There are also laws that apply too, for people called privacy laws and cyber stalking laws and things like this.
Right.
But what she's doing is similar to what he's doing, which is destroying lives. She's creating false imagery.
The only lives we destroyed were of scummy lawyers and scummy judges, and that's the only people, and child molesters and child abusers. But
which I would be right there with you on that. Right. You know what I mean? I'm all about
people who falsely accused others of child molestation and child abuse. Yeah. We never took on somebody like the Cooks and his clients. People who didn't necessarily have power and weren't trying to hurt anyone. We didn't do that. This is different. She's, we worked from early 2021 to early 2022, and then she wanted to do other things, and she got sick of it. And I should have gotten sick of it. But initially, she was covering like Johnny Depp and some of these high-profile trials, and that was good. But she found this guy, and I think her viewership increased a lot.
It did. She went from like 7,000 or 11,000 views per whatever video she put out, and then look at the next one. It has What the Hell's on. It has 100,000 views.
Right. Yeah, look at Shizzy Wisnit. He was in the hundreds for forever, and now he's in like 10,000s.
Right.
Yeah. And I only even looked at those stats when they started accusing me and trying to add me to this. I'm like, really? Let's go see what Megan, how many videos she's put out about this. Let's go see what Tug did.
Right.
And I'm trying to right a wrong here. Like Jeremy has wronged this family and mainly this child. And that's what I'm trying to do.
If you go to Megan's channel, if you get back to 2021, you'll see our videos. And it has far less views. There were more views on Facebook, but it's far less views. But I think the much better work, much more groundbreaking, much more interesting, to me at least, than what she's doing with this. But it's best she chose. I'm not her boss.
This is low-level entertainment. This is like pure prurient, or not prurient exactly, but low level. I mean, this is like
I didn't see their deposition. I don't watch depositions for fun, so I didn't see the deposition. My understanding is they acted in a goofy manner. They were stupid or whatever it was. That was
they're talking about the one video, Mike. So she had brought a state court TRO action, and they took a video deposition and played it in September and humiliated and mocked her over 8 days because the lawyer was purposely haranguing her and making her stressed out. And
right, I didn't see the deposition. I've been deposed. I've watched depositions here and there, but I don't. Depositions aren't that fun.
Well, just watch one link of it because there's 8 days of it. Watch one. It's 45 minutes or so, and you'll see it's outrageous.
Okay, I'll take a look.
Yeah. And it's just a constant, like she creates false imagery, then runs off into like this speculation that's just like, wow, with everybody in the case. She's literally like on this team. I know you. I see you shaking your head. I know it's probably for you. It's hard to see.
None of that we did. We got almost 100 judges to recuse themselves, 1 to retire. Nearly that many lawyers and guardian ad litem who recused themselves from one case.
Oh, the wall of recusals. That was you.
Right,
You were on the wall.
Wall of recusals. We get like 30 judges off of one case from a couple of articles. We were doing groundbreaking work, but as I said, the traffic wasn't. It was infinitesimal compared to the traffic she's getting for this stuff. And she would get interviews. I would get interviews, but again, on platforms that were tiny compared to the platform she gets now. In terms of her professional standing and money, this has increased it tenfold, and that, I presume, is why she's doing it.
Well, it seems like, in all honesty, everybody involved, like no one's really, even myself, even though that's not my intention to talk about this, but my child
he's a lowlife. Yeah. Wills is a lowlife. And
but it seems like everybody involved in this, it's all about money. Every which way you turn, even like that. I'm not even gonna get into that, never mind. But no matter how you look at it, there's money involved in this, Yeah. And I understand my channel grew, but I didn't, like, this came out of pure anger of what this guy was doing, But because of that, people agreed with me, and they came, and then they're supporting our channel, and then it's like we decided, okay, let's help this family, let's help this child. What is it that they need? What is lacking? The whole thing actually really started with the fact that he excluded her from a 5-year-old child from a Christmas event in the town that only has like 100 people. That blew my mind. I was like, what? We're doing Harley Jolly Christmas?
I believe he claimed that Bruce is a mandated reporter and that he was required to report abuse. One, there's no abuse.
No,
he's not a mandated reporter. This guy speaks out of his butt. He doesn't know his audience. They go along with it.
Yeah,
he's a lowlife, and it'll catch up with him. These kinds of YouTubers, they have a limited shelf life because eventually that gets exposed and you get turned off, and your audience decreases. This is not the sort of thing that is sustained.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you straight up, I've been turned on. I've had to dig deep and like investigate like every video of his. I am so, But I'm exposing him for what he's done and his lies that he's told throughout this whole thing. And now, I mean, he's recognized that I'm doing that, and he is on me. He's going after my husband for like crazy stuff, and it's all just like papers. It's not even like true. And then he's got these fans of his boasting on Facebook. It's like, it's insane, the spins that are really
he's very good at writing the story. It's like I call it like a streaming Netflix series, and he's writing it as he goes along, and it's parallel to what's happening in the real world in court and stuff. And he's good at coming up with new angles and new storylines and character arcs and bringing in new people and focusing on new targets. And when you say you can't sustain it, but he has been, and he continues to, as long as the court will let him. As long as the court will let him.
For now, life isn't a couple of years. This isn't, I don't think, sustainable because it'll get exposed at some point.
And kind of the terms like a script writer. The problem is other people have changed his script. There's other people writing the script.
Right. All right.
That's the problem.
I think we got to wrap it up.
Yeah. Well, Michael, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on and helping explain and just let everybody know, because this was something that we needed. It's been brought up so many times, but it's been mocked or joked about, and it's a very important case. So I thought it was important for you guys to come on as well as Bruce and just explain to everybody what this case was about, and that's exactly what you did, and it was good job. Thank you, Boudica. Great interview, so thank you so much for coming on.
All right. Take care, guys.
All right, Mike. We'll talk to you soon. And Lisa, you'll be on tonight, right?
Yeah, I'm going to come back tonight and do my normal Tuesday night thing. And who knows, probably more stuff is going to pop up between now and then. But we'll see what's going on. I'll be back later on tonight, guys. Maybe I'll hang out here for a couple minutes.
All right, Mike, you can go, and I'll hang out with Lisa for a couple. All right, I'll hang out with you, Lisa.
Bye, Mike. Yeah, so guys, what'd you think? Hello to everybody. I didn't get a chance to do my normal hellos, and but thank you all for hanging out, and I hope
more questions if anybody has any.
yeah, I hope you guys had some of your questions answered. Thank you all. Thank you, Sally. I emailed you earlier. Okay, thank you, Hannah. Whoops. Totally. Oh, you're
Well,
welcome, guys.
thanks everybody who stayed through and listened to this. I know it could be got a little, technical, legalistic at times, but it's I think easy to grasp when it comes down to
Yeah,
it.
yeah. When it comes down to it, it's like okay. So boom, boom, boom. So um, I just can't believe, the judge. I mean, I know sometimes judges do things that don't make sense, or but you just gotta hope in certain cases you have a judge that knows what they're doing, and
Well, yeah, and when lawyers are investing their time and their livelihood in a case, they should be able to rely on some reality, facts and law being applied. And here's how I describe it. Sometimes, and I've had too many of these experiences in my legal career. This isn't the only case, believe it or not. So when you realize at some point, and we did at some point, that this is in the tank, okay, it's a tank job, that if this is the way these rulings have gone, what hope do we have? And yet
right,
you are trapped as a lawyer in a game of charades, because you
right,
can't just say it, you can't just throw up your arms and say, ah, shit, obviously this is rigged or in the tank, and we're going to spend 2 years basically knowing that it's going to be a rigged outcome, so why are we going to bother? If you do that, now you've just basically folded up tent, and now you're basically committing malpractice or something, right? Because you just gave up when all the facts and the law were on your side. So you're trapped in a game of charade. You have to play the part of the lawyer in a contested litigation, as if you have any expectation that all of your sweat, blood, and tears is going to lead to anything fair. And then in
right.
the end, this is what happens.
Hi, Tree Alive. Pam, I don't get why Jughead is blowing this out of proportion.
Yeah, I have a
For
channel.
content.
I have a channel, Stacy, and whoever asked. But it's just live music video. It's live
Yeah, it's
music,
like your
and the
personal.
Bruce answering, the famous answering machine recording.
Motion to compel has hit the docket on Hales versus Preston.
What?
Now let's take a look. See, I got it right here.
No, wait a minute. Yes, indeed. Oh boy, we've been waiting for something. So, no, it's okay. They filed a motion to compel. Apparently,
Motion
now
to compel what?
I don't know. I haven't read it. Probably a lot of community, private communications between a list of 50 something names. I'll look at it.
All right.
I'll look at it. I just wish the ruling would come on the motion to amend, and that will really, be a strong signal of like the trajectory of this whole thing going forward. Yeah.
There's like all these pages in here.
Yeah, it's I wouldn't, after you're off of this stream and before tonight, you could look at it. I don't think it's anything.
Well, it looks like we're gonna have something to go over tonight then.
Yeah. Some of the other channels will probably cover it first, but if I thought it was anything major,
I get on later. I come on later, so you will see some other channels covering it before me. That's okay.
Yeah.
What should we call it? So this is. Let me just see.
A lot of exhibits.
Yeah. I'm gonna download it. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm doing the same.
And it be downloading. There you go. All right, so we'll check that out and see what that's all about. But now let's see. Ooh, you get a depot. You get a depot. We all get a depot. There's 50 names on it now. What? This is gonna be fun.
Well, he can't take like the maximum is 10 depots, but I don't know.
It's not to see 50 plus more people in court. The goal is into incite fear in them. This is ridiculous. Judge is going to be way pissed off. Yeah, this is like, let him keep doing it. Let him keep doing it. All he's going to do is call this ridiculous. And Jeremy's literally trying to turn this case into a circus. Ray, sub to your channel, Bruce.
Say again?
Ray, Bone Crusher, sub to your channel, he said.
Oh, hey, thanks, Ray.
Is Martha going to get depoted? I think eventually. Thank you, Renee.
I think in our claims or lawsuit later on.
They're going to insult Bruce and Michael and discredit them by spewing lies. Michael Volpe is most likely going to be doxxed now. You know what?
Yeah, I think he was probably aware, that's a possibility.
Yeah. I'm doing way better today, guys. This had happened. Last night's initial when I started the live, that had just happened, and it was like really confusing. Like, wait, what the hell just happened here? But overall, this whole thing, look, I'm not afraid to get upset or whatever, and I know that that's what he wants, which is fine. That was my initial reaction, and I'm going forward. I don't care what he posted today. I don't care how many pieces of paper that he shows from a courtroom. I don't care. I never lied about that. I never lied that I had evictions. I told you, like, the one I did click on the one thing, and it was to do with my mother. I don't care. I told you guys it had to do with my mother. They were trying to get my mother out of a place for reasons that were untrue, and both my parents at one time were in a hospital, and I had both my parents sick at one time. There was a lot that went on, and I don't think I have to get into any of that. I was in fact on the house for her. I've seen posted, oh, Lisa's a liar. She's saying she owned the property and blah blah blah. But I do own property. Okay, like I said, not Gabe. I read what they just said. Jeremy's not the only real estate person. I do own property, but I don't have to tell you where that is. I don't have to tell you what it is. And I don't own the house that I'm in. In fact, I've talked several times about purchasing the house that I'm in. So where they're getting their information from is, just they're spinning. You want to take pictures of a house that you think I live in and post it on the internet, you go right ahead and do so, because you'll get ramifications for doing that. And I don't care what they post. I don't care what they post about Gabe. They don't know the story. They don't. I could explain it to you 10 times, but they're still not going to listen. They're not going to post the truth of what's being said. So it doesn't matter what I say if I address it. So guess what? I'm no longer going to address it. I'm here. You guys hear me every night. I'm not faking nothing. I have done everything I said I was going to do in regards to Harley and Michelle and what I'm still going to do what I'm doing. They're not going to stop me by posting something that maybe 15, 10, even 5 years ago. Because I showed you guys last night, 5 years ago, Jeremy saying that Georgia's bringing drugs into her home, in his home, and dating or seeing her, best friend or whatever. So I'm going to keep going with this. I don't care what he does. He is not going to stop me from telling the truth when he's lying in regards to hurting people. I don't care if he's going to lie to you about storage units or whatever. I am not going to, I don't care about that. What I care about is what you're lying about and what you're claiming and trying to discredit everybody else when you're the one who's been lying first and lying, about this family to destroy people. That's fine. What you want to say, I'm not a criminal. And it's that simple. You are. He is a criminal. He does have an arrest record for criminal stuff. Okay? You want to talk about, pot or whatever? Pot is legal. And you can say whatever you want about that. You could twist the paperwork into whatever and not find out what really happened. And you can bullshit people all you want. I don't care anymore. I went through 30 hours of giving a shit. I don't care anymore. There you go. To me, it's that simple. And I know everybody's telling me I don't have to explain. That's fine. I feel like, you're here, you're supporting me. You should know the truth. That's why I'm telling you. But I don't care. I don't care. See, like, if an eviction's there and I'm trying to stop the eviction from happening, or I'm trying to give an answer, I don't care what my answer was. I know what the truth is in the situation. I know I was trying to save the situation. I know I was trying to save my mother because they were lying about my mother. Like, I don't really care what anybody thinks about it. I don't care.
Listen, I told you they're going to escalate and escalate,
Mhm.
and if the one attack and one drudging up of something doesn't get the reaction that they're hoping for, then they're going to go on to something that's even worse and
Yeah.
escalate. For example, he's starting. He went on a diatribe about my daughter. How can my daughter,
How is
grow
that?
up? And she's going to grow up and have to know that her dad was the. I mean, this.
Bud Light said the super chat. Oh my God! Thank you, Bud Light.
So he reaches,
Oh,
he reaches
so
and he
much.
tries to come up with the most full things that he can to incite us and to try to get us to lose our shit. And we just can't, we still got the cookies on the plate, Lisa. And don't let them,
No,
don't
I'm
let
not.
them
I'm not.
let
I
us
would
lose sight of that.
never. I would never really back down from what I'm doing and stuff like that, but it's stressful. Like I said, I've been digging into all these videos. I'm listening to this idiot. I gotta hear this idiot's voice all the time. Now he's trying to add me because I'm exposing. Okay, fine, whatever, add me. I could repeat all my shit. My evictions are not going to affect this federal case. You know what I mean? Like, my suing somebody else is not going to affect this case going on.
Yeah, it's all distraction, distraction from
Gabe
what
has nothing to do with this case at all. So he's
just
trying to
distraction.
distract and ruin my credibility. But I've actually proven what I set out to do from 3 months ago? I've proven it to you all. I've done exactly what I set out to do. Has he done the things that he set out to do? What has he set out to do in 2 years but destroy someone's life and take them all to court and stuff? That's not me. I'll
See,
fight you and I'll
Lorene
fight
gets
back.
it. Lorene
But
gets it. 4 cookies on a plate. She knows no matter what he
yeah,
does, no matter how he escalates the
it's
attack, it
still
doesn't change that.
it's still 4 cookies on a plate. You can move them around all you want. It's still 4 cookies on a plate.
All right. So listen, I'm going to get running too, and
Right.
you continue if you like, of course, and we'll we'll see you tonight.
Alrighty,
I'll
Bruce.
be
Thanks a
watching
lot.
tonight. All right. Thank you, Lisa. Really, I'm really pleased that we could get the story on your channel. A
Yeah,
serious thing.
I really think it was necessary because of all the
Yeah.
mocking and the using it against you. When meanwhile you're trying to fix a wrong.
Yep,
You
and
know
I
what I mean?
appreciate
And we're all that's what we're all doing
everybody
over
here
here.
watching and trying to understand it and appreciate it and know why it's important. I really it means a lot to me. So thanks. All right, I'll see you tonight.
Alrighty. Bye.
Bye.
Guys, thank you all so much for the support. I want to say, I don't want to get tearful because you know what? Here it is. I do have a heart, and I am empathetic, very much so. But I'm also very strong, and I am a fighter, and I will fight back. But um, every email I get, you guys just really just bring a tear to my eye because I'm so thankful that you guys kind of see what's going on and um just the fact that you support me, just like, oh my gosh, but I really appreciate it. And I'm sorry if as I'm talking, I'm missing a super chat. Sally also sent the super chat while Mike and Bruce were on here. That I did see. Thank you so much. Keep up the great work. Your true followers don't give a crap on past issues of love and respect your kids. Thank you so much, bud. Um, catching up. Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading what Jenny said. Yeah, please pray. Prayers up, Jenny. I hope you feel better, and I hope your results come in way better than they are right now. Prayers up. Oh, thank you, John. Thank you. Um, Thank you guys so much. So much. Um, oh, Tricky, thank you. Cool. You guys are reposting it. Bruce and Mike's channel. Thank you so much. Um, yeah, you know what? You're right to your life. Um, I don't have anything to do with the case. It is about the signs and the complaints against John and Michelle. What's the purpose of bringing you into it? Because I'm exposing him, and they're trying to say that defamation, and I'm defaming him. And look, defaming is when you're lying, and I'm not lying about him. We proved everything, even like the stupidest little thing, like last night, showing you how he's mocked George and said all this stuff about George, which is all along, which is their whole facade of a relationship over there, while he's trashing somebody else. Oh, Lisa, thank you so much. Doesn't Dodge Dragon Works, $10 super chat. Woohoo. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. After last night, I did get so many emails from everybody, and I print them out, guys, and I save them just so you know. And I know as of late, with everything going on, there's been many of them, and I've been really overwhelmed, like with emotion, because I said last night, like I am, I've been defending Michelle and John and myself and Bruce and and Super Dave and like just all along. And then you come at my husband, and it's like I have to explain to all these people. It's like, which we already did 2 months ago, but to have to re-explain it, which is fine, no problem. This is what it is. You don't want to think that's what it is because your papers you have is fine, but you have no idea what evidence is sitting behind us with the Jeremy case, with my husband's case, with me. You have no idea. And until I bring it to light, you're not going to know anything. So you can believe whatever you want. But I have this information, and I'm sitting here going, oh my God, can we just like get this court thing over with? Because when all the evidence comes out, it's like, wow, and to attack me, I get it. That's fine. I even welcomed it. Go ahead, attack me. Evictions, I sued people, whatever. Go ahead and attack me. But to go after my husband when really has nothing to do with anything, and you can say he does because he pops on here and gives an opinion here and there, but he's not Thule's. And that's where you're hitting me at home, which he freaking knew. And he got a reaction. He got the reaction he wanted. And that's fine. I'll give it to you. But you're not going to stop me from reacting, commenting, or critiquing what videos you're putting out and what you're doing every day. You're not going to stop me. Because what you put out is there. Whatever. It's already been there. It's been sitting there this whole time. If I cared that much about it, I would have had it sealed like he did. And I didn't. Because it's not criminal. You could turn around and turn it into a pattern. It is a pattern in a sense, yes, because of what I was doing at the time. My plan was to take care of my parents because they were both sick. However, shows popped up, and I could not keep certain leases, even though I tried and even said whatever I said to save them. And then I had to take care of them, and it was a very difficult period for me, having both my parents sick at the same time. So you can hate me for it. You can try and degrade me or make me into a criminal. I don't care. My first priority that whole entire time was my family, which is my mother and father. No, it's that simple. That's what it comes down to. But I did have to still work, so I did have to go out on shows, and sometimes I'd be, show pops up in the middle of a 4-month lease or whatever it is, and then obviously I had to move somewhere else. So, it was a bit crazy and stupid. Me let musicians live in a home. Big, I'm not going to keep going over and over it. It is what it is, and it's there. I don't freaking care about it. That's not, what's going on now. I've been in the same place I'm at for quite a bit, and people want to say, "Hey, she says she didn't live in the villages and blah blah blah." But here's the house, here's the property. Okay, guess how big the villages is, guys? The technical address, which I don't even care what it says on property things. If you put another town name on my address, it will come here because I technically live in that town. Okay, so I was not lying. Anyway, anybody shows up here though, based on all the psychos and the people that do crazy shit over there, the sheriff already knows what's going on. The sheriff's already prepared, trust me. Okay, because they've been prepared before he even did this. So thank you so much. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh my god. Mother of Birds, a new member. Welcome. Tony Whitley, $20 for Gabe's Cheese Fund. Rebellion, member for 4 months. Jeremy doesn't deserve our attention. He's a 0. Exactly. Jerem X, member for 4 months. Rebellion, much love. Please, thank you so much. Thank you guys for your super chats. You guys are awesome. GPS says I live up the roof of my house. Yeah, someone did like a I thought it was on. It should be on subscribers only. Yeah, they did like a Google Earth thing, and they said there's a wall behind her house, and no, there isn't. No, there isn't. Yeah, it's a motion to compel discovery. You can't help myself if you don't take care of yourself, please. Exactly. Frog's front. Quit your line. Everyone can see the fleas are psychos. Frog off and get ready for karma. Ouch. Ouch. Yeah, I'm not lying. It's the truth. Look it up. Everyone can see the fleas. Yeah, we're psychos. They're acting like this whole thing is turned into like a childish, high school game here, and that's fine. Go for it, because I will still be putting out the truth. Put out whatever you want about me. There's no I've not spent time in jail. I've been arrested, kind of, sort of, when they put me in the handcuffs with the car thing, but it was quickly released and dropped because it was false. So that's technically not an arrest, and it's not even on my record. What else, Pickers? So I'm sure. Let's just keep. I just say let's just keep going and feeding them. You had to see what we did the other night when Robbie was live. I was just saying little spurts in the chat, and they were going bonkers. Bonkers. At least you didn't steal money from your kids and never give it back. I did not steal money from my kids and never give it back. I did not steal money from anybody. I live in an igloo. Right now it is an igloo. I got 2 heaters on me right now. Dang. It was detained, not arrested. Thank you, Jared. You never had a court case. You're right. I never sealed any court cases. I did not steal any money from a church. Good gosh, no. Yeah. I don't steal money from elderly people on a daily. I don't take things that cost me $1 and sell it for $100. I don't sit there and say I can't afford my attorney fees because I chose to file a lawsuit against someone. Can you please pay for them by sending me your hard-earned money, or your retirement money, or no, I do not have disorderly conduct. That's criminal. He was arrested for it. I don't beg for money. Yeah, daily. I don't sit here in $1 million home and tell you please pay my lawyer fees. Sorry. No, that's not me. That's not me. And by him doing what he's doing, he's actually deflecting from what I'm saying. Oh, thank you, Bonnie. Sorry. He's trying to deflect from what I'm saying, with the truth that I'm exposing about him. That's what he's really doing. So, along with his smear campaign, and I'm really glad that Mike Michael Volpe, was on here, and even though he's talking about the macaroni and cheese, I'm really glad that he spoke about Megan the way he did, because she was, in fact, a journalist. I don't call her a journalist anymore. So I'm glad that he pointed that out, and I'm glad he has mad respect for her. And I'm glad we were able to show that, and that just shows you how biased I am not. Okay. Um, and I'm really glad about that. But I just think it's a shame all these people jumping on gravy trains for foolish reasons. You know, I'm sorry that if people don't think protecting a child, really protecting them from people trying to harm her life, uh, they don't understand that, and it's sad. Uh, that's what it sounds like, Tony. Uh, you let everyone speak, even if they are from their side. You comment. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Comment on their channels, they get deleted. Yeah, guys, and people can comment. Doesn't matter what side you're on. You can talk in the chat. I mean, obviously they don't want to really, but they can say that things are problems when they come here to even put out their point. They get so rude and vile, and they're even doing it on the comments. That's why I had to make the comments on each video, that I had to approve them, because they were getting. I don't look at them, all day long, and they can do it at any time. And meanwhile, the next thing you know, there's this nasty ass comment on the chat, and they're being rude, and people are fighting. So I had to make it so that I approve the comments, and so I don't approve some of them. Absolutely not. I do pay the grandchildren because I don't believe in slave labor. Yeah, they can be here. They just need to be nice. Exactly. Exactly. And like Mike, well, I'm really glad that he has that opinion of her. And I'm glad he said it exactly the way he said it too, because that's exactly how it appears to me from what I've learned about Megan. So, and he said it perfectly, and he knows her. So, that's fine. I don't know her, but what I've seen, I don't like. But I do know at some point she obviously was a respectable journalist at one time because of the attention she grabbed prior to this. And she does have some notoriety there. And so I'm glad he was able to touch on that and, and bring that to light. So that, good for her. However, what she's doing now, I don't respect it at all. At all. She used to be a good person until super chat. That's what I'm saying. Money does crazy things, guys. It really does. And that's my channel has grown. Yeah, so every month now I'm getting money from YouTube, whereas it took 3 months before to get a check. It's surprisingly, it's shocking. I'm very appreciative and thankful for it. But I'm not going out there begging for money or anything like that. And it goes right back into the channel, and it's now paying for the channel that we've had for 2 years. So it balances out. And but other than that, I mean, honestly, guys, I do work in PR, but this case is not a client of mine. Michelle is not a client of mine. Okay, I know how to promote my channel to the point where I could have had 100,000 subs by now. I know how to do that. Okay, I'm not doing that, and I could. I did not really know where the channel was going to go. I know what we started out with. And to me, it just needed to keep improving until I was ready to do that. And I didn't hit that point yet. So if that was my whole, how should I say it? It wasn't the plan, at the moment or at this time to explode. To me, the channel needed to have continuous substance, and what it ended up being was more fun, more chilling, more like, at night they're hanging out at the dining room table playing cards with the fam and your siblings or something, and all their friends coming over. That's kind of what it seemed like to me, the chill part of the day, and that's what it turned into. So why am I going to promote that to 100,000 people? If they want to come, they want to come. You know what I mean? So I just told it is what it is, or was what it was, and then we started talking more about the celebrity news and gossip stuff, and it got more into, we were trying to look at more cases and stuff like that, and boom, Jeremy just attacked Guapo, and here it is, and you guys are here because of a civil. You found a channel that I guess agreed with you in some instances. I'm sure not everybody agrees with everything I say, and I don't believe that people should. What, Gabe?
Here's something funny.
But here we go. Gabe's in back.
No.
Well,
It's a video.
Oh, it's a video.
Here, look.
Sausage gravy and biscuits for Gabe. Oh, he's shouting something. Hold on.
Okay, hold on. Listen.
That we would say has no chance of happening. Two black guys be the black guy.
Oh, it's Shaq and
Chuck said that. Chuck said that. He goes, "What's two?" He's got Ernie all distorted with that joke.
Oh.
Look at him. Chuck said that. You heard what he said, right?
Lakers will not make the playoffs. The Kings will is the latest edition. Go ahead, Kenny. I can't
Dude. He watches the NBA. What is the show called? What is it?
Inside the NBA.
Inside the NBA. And Bud Light, everybody's saying
Chuck
hello to you.
and
Everybody's saying hello to you.
Oh.
Everyone's saying hello.
Live?
Yeah, I'm still
Right
live.
now?
Yes.
Hello.
He didn't know I was live.
You're not ever live right now.
I know. Rin said hi, Gabe. Donna said hi, Gabe. Sally. Stacy. Jackie Ridge. Bud Light. Everyone say hi. Dr. Love.
Just
Pizza. He's going to do... okay. Number 4, super fan. Oh, hold please. Hold please. Okay, sorry. Rebellion Freedom. What? Thank you so much, you super chat. Hold on. Wait, knock my hand over. One difference between us and them, we can disagree and be fine with each other. No hate. Yeah, I don't even have hate for him. I mean, but yes, that's absolutely true.
Excuse me, it's just me, the drug addict. Just me, the drug addict. For Christ's sake.
Oh my God. I didn't know you were going to do that. Jay says maybe I'd be number 2. That's so funny. Joy says, let me hit that thing. Oh my God. I love you.
Oh, me too.
Oh, you crack me up sometimes. He's really funny, guys. Everybody's laughing. At least tell Gabe that I got some killer hybrid today at the dispensary, man. It's awesome because I haven't had anything in 2 weeks.
I just got my thing, I'm in the process of getting my ante up.
You're not supposed to inhale so fast. Pass, puff, puff. Oh my God. I do have to, I gave just for, do I smoke that shit?
Absolutely not. You know how long I've tried? I've tried for 20 years to take one hit off a joint, and I can't get it a budge. So,
nope.
You don't even drink.
Nope. I did have some champagne the other night.
Yeah. You have
half
something like once a year, and that's that time of the year. New Year's, you always have something, a glass of wine.
Snorting what? Snorting cheese? Wait, hold on. That's moving fast. Hang on. I think everyone. Okay. Sorting cheese doesn't make you a drug addict.
Excuse me.
Well, they think that the part about what I said, what happened when you were at your friend's and you got nervous, you had to go tell the probation officer.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't even me that noticed it. It was
Yeah.
somebody else that noticed it. They
Mhm.
mentioned it, and I'm like, get it. I didn't believe them because I mean, I've done my share of drugs in my past,
Yeah.
but I didn't notice anything, and sure enough, yeah.
And then you said you felt
yeah, I'm
weird.
like, come to think of it.
Chuck E. Cheese gave Jervin
I was getting my
some
stereo
dog poo.
installed.
Yeah. No, not that time. You weren't.
When was it?
That was when he fixed your car.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. 'Cause you just got,
I know.
yeah. So, yeah. So he got nervous and he had to go tell his PO guy and girl at the time. Actually,
Yeah, the
She was a girl.
the girl at the time.
Oh well, let's see. Let's see if it pops up. And sure enough, it did. So, and he had to go through, which is fine because all it's done really is you having to go back to it is bring up the whole fact of the arraignment in the
You
beginning.
know what? They can do whatever they want and twist whatever they want, but if that's the worst thing. The worst thing you can get on me is what? A couple early marijuana possession charges or something before it was legal.
He's been smoking pot a
I've been
long
smoking
time,
pot
guys.
since I was, and to say, and just to let everybody know, I did drop out of school.
Oh, okay.
I
So
had to drop
there
out
was a
of school.
comment. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
The comment is, oh, so he's been in this business for 40 years. Isn't he only like 51? I'm like, oh my
I've
God.
been working since I was 14.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, excuse me. 35. I rounded it
Yeah,
off.
35 years I've been doing this. But I dropped out of school
Mhm.
because I had to take care of my brothers,
Yeah.
and I had to start working. So,
Yeah.
So I've been working for a long time.
Yeah. And Gabe and I grew up very differently, right?
Very different.
Very differently. And, and
So yeah, I just don't understand. They're really getting personal, man. They're really hitting it, and
that's fine.
they're trying. You know what I mean? It's crazy. But hey, you know what? The dirty laundry's whatever you want to call it.
Gabe
I
met
don't
me,
have it,
and we made a big
and
difference.
I'm not hiding anything.
No.
Hiding anything. Someone who has their record like sealed is hiding something.
Exactly.
What is it? What are you trying not to see? Because if I was that concerned about it, I would have done the same thing. But
yeah, how long has it been
there's so
sitting in
many
the court
people.
records?
I mean, come on. I was a bad boy when I was younger.
He was a
I
bad
was
boy.
a bad boy. Yeah,
Till he
but
met
you know
me.
what? I never broke the law to the extent to where I was going to interfere with somebody else's life.
Yeah.
The only person that I would walk that razor's edge, but I knew what line not to cross.
Right.
You know what I mean? I kept it in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to because it was just me.
Yeah.
At 15, 16.
Yeah, he grew up very differently from me. I grew up in a nice
So
suburban
whatever
area.
I got, I had to work my ass off and earn.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It was my hair. It was my hair. It was my hair. When I met you, I pulled my hair down. It was in a bun.
Yeah.
And I knew once I realized he was actually hitting on me, I literally took my hair and let it down. Right?
Yeah. And I can tell you this right now, all this bitterness that's going, I thought about this for a little while. I was like, well, I do have, not the straightest edge in the past, but I know my Lisa here does. She has no interference with law, nothing, and so she's the
criminal law. You mean?
Yeah, criminal law. So I would say she's tamed me,
Yeah.
So she's tamed me a lot.
Yeah.
He
met me, and
yeah, and it's been
oh, Shara will cut whatever. Shara is a joke.
Well, you
She's
know,
the
whatever they want to try,
jokeless.
whatever they want to, there ain't nothing. You know, if that what's the worst that you got out there right there. That's like the worst. You know, and the whole job thing, that what they're making this big deal about. I'll explain it one more time for the people who come in late, and for also the people who don't understand.
Uh-huh.
This thing is so old. You know, it was.
He's saying it's no one's business.
I mean,
They don't need to know.
you know, but I don't want my. That's my problem. That's what I'm dealing with, and I try to keep it my own problem. Lisa wants to help me with it, and I just thought I could take care of it myself.
Yeah,
And
I
kind of
told him not to
backfired
sign the
because
damn
I
thing.
don't get in trouble with the law, so I didn't know the ins and outs of the law like a lot of criminals do.
Right.
So I wasn't real sure. So I did not want to go to jail. So
Right.
and I did not feel like going back and forth.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
was the main thing.
I just like, well, I'll just eat it and I plead this.
Because at first
So-
he was like, I don't work for free. Why should I give him back all the money? I did like
Right.
6 jobs on this
and
guy's house.
that's never been a discrepancy. I said it from the get-go, from the first time I talked to a judge. I said, this isn't about me taking, all this is about how much is owed back. I know I owe this guy some money. He gave me some money for a deposit for a job that I couldn't do because of
the permit.
permit.
Yeah.
So, but he wanted a full refund. Now, at the time, I came back to him on a man-to-man basis, said, here's the money. I feel like this is what she goes, no, I don't, I want either all or nothing. I'm like, well, it ain't going to happen. So I said, you give me a call. You got my number. When you're ready to negotiate, you got my number.
And he did.
4 years went by.
No.
Actually,
He was calling for a lot, yelling and screaming.
yeah,
and all
because he
this
wanted the
stuff.
whole thing, and I kept telling him the same thing over
And I
over
told
again.
him not to call no more.
We could sit and talk like two men.
Yeah.
Because we got to come up to a conclude what numbers are here.
Exactly.
He didn't want to hear it. So.
And then it was like we had no idea when we got pulled over that day.
So what was it,
4
like
years
4
later?
years later.
4 years later. Yeah.
Because I had that lift on the back of the truck.
Yeah, and it was Memorial Day, so obviously the cops were out.
Right.
You know.
Right. So he pulled me over, and what did I have? I had a little bit of blood in the car.
Yeah.
And I told him from the get-go.
Yeah, I told him.
I told the guy straight up. I
Yeah.
said, I got a little bit of pot, and that was it. It was like, even the guy who come up, because he called in another, he called in another officer to sniff out the car, and nothing else was found. And the officer that came up was actually pissed off that he had to drive all that way for that little bitty stuff.
Yeah.
So.
And Gabe was in the car, and they have me like sitting out of the car, and they're like looking through the car, and I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, I can't.
So that's it, you know. And if people want to.
And then we found out what it really was. We were supervised. I called Robbie. Robbie came to meet me because I was like shaking. Like I was like, what the hell just happened here? And I got this lift. So him and Sean came and met me, and then we went back to Robbie's.
Right.
And then when Gabe was ready to get bonded out, because they weren't going to bond you out at first.
No.
Because when this started, they had sent you to a very old address.
Right.
Whatever paperwork for it, and you never appeared in court because you didn't get it. I
never even got the letter. I got nothing.
Yeah. So what happened was they wouldn't bond them out because of the non-appearance in court.
Right.
So they added the bondsman and his other dude and the people in the county.
They did
finagled it
because he didn't think I deserved to be in there.
Right. And so they added a third charge to him.
So they can make the bond.
They can make, that way
so
they
can create a bond. So
yeah.
That's why it looks like it's worse than it is.
Yeah. And then this Shirley, was it Shirley or something? Is that what? I don't know. I'm going off of what Jeremy said now.
Yeah, well, it was the
hurricane victim.
It was when the hurricanes happened.
I don't even think that was it.
It was it was right after that. But what had happened was there was debris in the whole neighborhood.
Yeah, yes.
Debris throughout the whole neighborhood. And she was pissed off that I didn't pick it up.
Yeah, but she didn't pay for you to dump it.
Well, no,
at that time,
I said, "Don't be around." I said, "I'll call it." Well, I'm sure they got calls in because when you're in a certain area in a county, tax dollars pay for a clamshell to come out to the resident's job, resident's house.
Right.
I called it in black and white. I called it in. It was scheduled to be picked up.
But they didn't.
They did it because I guess they missed her, and I have no idea.
No, and then what she was saying was she wanted you like that day to come get it.
Yeah,
and,
all that.
And you would have had to take it to the dump and pay
at the
for
end of the house. You just.
She didn't want to pay for it.
Some clients are just,
Some clients get anal, guys. No offense to anybody, but some people just they feel when you're dealing, especially with customer service, I did that with like social media for Amazon. So like they just there's an entitlement sometimes, and this woman felt that he should do that, but it wasn't included in what she wanted him to do, and she refused to pay. So he just said, "Well, then you're gonna have to wait for the clamshell to come."
Clamshell. That's what it was.
And that's what happened.
Right.
What she did was she was aggravated, and she called the police, and she spoke of a report.
Their first reaction is to call the police.
Right, and then the elder abuse thing or something like that, because there were a lot of people doing that. They were. Right. So, I mean, they would advertise it on television and stuff and, be careful, blah, blah, blah. So they did. But she didn't want to actually really cause problems because she said that she didn't want to go to court or nothing.
She thought it was, she was just wanting to get the
picked up. So, but she made a report. So when this other guy shows up, and like is so pissed and demanding he stole money from me or whatever, however he said it to them, they saw that there was a report there once before, so they contacted her. Right. Now her thing went from like $300 to now $1,000. Well, his thing in the arraignment, he like showed, oh, this is $6,000. Right. Now all of a sudden it's 10.
Well, a lot of that is probation fees. And
right.
You got to do the urinalysis and all that stuff. So,
but here's the thing,
all
guys.
That pushes, it costs money.
With this grand theft thing, Gabe was trying to just, I don't care, fine, I'll eat that. At first, it was like, no, I don't work for free. Then it was like, oh my God, I'm not doing this
After going back for the third time, and they
keep continuing it. It's like, I'm not doing this, forget it, I'll eat it.
Take the plea, I'll just pay it.
Right. Well, you originally told the lawyer, I'm going to call this guy and I'm going to give him back all his money. She told you, no, don't do that. Why? They had a plea thing. So they made up the plea thing.
And stupid me, I don't listen to my wife.
Yes. So, I told them, you do realize by doing that, you have a grand theft charge.
I put all my cards on a damn...
I don't care when it's paid, it goes away.
Defender, and I shouldn't have did that. So.
Yeah.
I don't get
But when he does pay this off, it's supposed to go away, which is fine, which, he was going to eat it and just pay the guy anyway, right? Well, it turns out,
what happened was the guy...
You should not have this charge, period.
Even the judge, when I first went in there for the arraignment for the first time, he thought it was kind of fishy because how can he be stealing something when he did work for you?
Exactly.
And he claimed it on the replete piece report that I had stolen it. That was it. I had stolen it. He didn't mention any work being done. He didn't mention this being done.
So the judge, what happened was the judge turned around to you and not to you, to the victim.
Right, and got it out of him.
Asked him straight up. And he goes, well, so he did do work for you. And he goes, yes. He goes, so what was the problem? Or what did he do? He explained the roof thing. Right. And he said he put some sealant on it, but it was just like white sealant or something because it wasn't up to par. And he goes, well, did he clean the gutters? He goes, yeah, but there was still debris here. This guy lived in a tree-infested area, and he says when the house was inspected,
he had a tree over his house.
Yeah, but he was still in that place that was all trees.
And I still work in developments now. And you clean out the roof. You clean off the roofs. 2 days later, if they live underneath the oaks, especially in the winter, the wind's blowing and the leaves are going to go right back up there.
Well, not only that, that was the first job he had you do. Right. And he even says in the arraignment that from March 4th to April 20-something, so for a month and a half, you did work for him. Right. 6 times he came out. That's 6 different jobs that he paid you for.
Right. But he knew what he would do. And as my memory is starting to, we would get through this job, and then he would say, hey, I need you to look at this and give me this and this. And then he would pull me off, and I had to tell him like twice, look, dude, let me finish one job.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So there was a month and a half from the first job that he did, and then he's claiming that he had a house inspector come, and because this guy could not have gone and looked where whatever. He really couldn't have, right? So he said he had a house inspector come,
and
there was
work that
debris
wasn't
in
done,
one of the gutters or something like
but
that.
it was for material. The money he gave was material for the job that wasn't done that required the permit, and that was. But he said he wanted all his money back.
Yeah. So my point is, when did that inspector come? How long after Gabe did the gutters are you going to say that there was debris in one gutter?
And it was all
what?
verbal handshake, and it was word of mouth, and we did it on a handshake. I didn't think, and he knew the stuff that what he wanted to do, what did not require the permit. He knew this. He told me, if you won't say nothing, I won't. Say nothing.
That's the one thing that should have. First of all, you didn't do the work, so pulling the permit doesn't really matter. But that would have been your wrong.
Right.
That would have been your wrong.
Right, and that's where I made the mistake.
Right. That would have been your wrong in being willing to do it. But the neighbor caught it, stopped it, whatever. We don't know if he scared him. We have no idea.
Contractors and stuff. I mean, if it's a little thing that requires a permit, they just ignore it and go do it. Florida builders do it all the time.
But you're not a roofer.
I know.
Okay, and
I
you
was
never
trying to do a favor for somebody.
Yeah, but you never claimed to.
No.
You were on the roof.
Right.
Because you pressure washed it.
Right.
And then you sealed it. Yeah. And even the judge said, so it was a white. So he goes, what kind of home is this?
It's just
and he said a mobile home.
Yeah,
he goes, okay. Which made sense to the judge. Right. And but even the judge apologized to Gabe.
Because I bet you didn't even know you had a warrant. I'm like, I never had a clue. I said, I've been going about my day for the last 3 years.
Right. 4 years. Whatever.
4 years.
Yeah.
Nearly 4 years.
Yeah. And so he apologized to me because it's sad that you had this large bond because the money could have gone to,
paying the guy back.
Right. So he said that. But the main point, and that's the video I was going to show you guys the other night.
It's clearly civil.
I didn't
steal anything.
And I was going to show this to you guys the other night, but then I talked to Tori about it, and we just agreed that it would have been spun in like 15 different ways. So I didn't show it to you, but I did show it to someone. I showed it to Bud Light, and I actually sent it to David yesterday, but I also privatized it again. So, but the thing is, that video clearly proves because the judge asks the victim,
and I'm not dodging anything. I
did do work for him. Huh?
The dodging. What was I?
He said I was dodging it because I wouldn't go live yesterday at 6. We weren't here, and I wouldn't have been back by 6. That was my point. But anyway, so the video clearly shows.
I think I've told this story before, though.
You have, yes. Like 2 months ago, I touched it. Actually, you fell asleep. I touched it the other night. Here you are again. But the thing is, the video clearly shows the judge asking the victim if Gabe did do work for him. He said yes, and he basically said what's wrong, and the guy said it wasn't up to par. Okay, that was his response. Clearly proving there's no grand theft there, that it's a civil matter. Okay? And that's what the judge, by the way he was talking, the prosecutor should have picked up on, and I believe they did.
The problem is, the prosecutor, and I told the judge, I'm like, look, Your Honor, there's no doubt I owe this guy money. Well, I want to know how much. He won't sit down and talk to me. I tried to get a hold of this guy for the year prior, all this happened, back and forth when it happened. Yeah, he wasn't budging. So I'm like, well, when you're ready to negotiate, give me a call.
Right, and then it would just like fade it off, really.
Yeah, and I never heard anything about it. So,
basically, Gabe just wanted it over with. They told me to
stay away. He told me to stay away from the guy.
Yeah, and so he wanted it over. When he found out, he wanted it over with. I still think David was I don't know. I'm not even going to talk about that. But
I hope so. Because,
no. I'm just answering some of the comments. So you wanted it over with. So you signed this plea deal. It was giving him the money back anyway, which is what you said when the judge told you not to do. I mean, not the judge, the lawyer told you not to do. So, and then they told you that once you do this, whole thing will disappear and it won't even be on your record. So once probation's done and whatever, it won't be on your record. Now he brings up the fact that you're a rug addict because of the time that we just spoke about, where you were with your friends, and that's why you had to go back to court because they caught you doing. No, they didn't catch him doing that.
No, I voluntarily went in there.
He voluntarily
I
told them because he
voluntarily
was
went.
scared. He was like, what the hell? So he told them, it came up, so they had to go back to court. No big deal. It goes back to court the same way as if it was in the beginning. Not a big deal. Okay, but they're saying that's why you got 36 months or something on it. Now, that's what happened was he was on a PTI program.
Right.
And now it's just regular probation.
Right.
That's the difference. Okay, but they're claiming that you got arrested a month ago. And no, he did not.
I never got arrested.
No, he didn't. Somebody has a question. Hold on, let me scroll. I'm sorry, because I'm looking at him as I'm talking. How does somebody get on probation for a civil case when it just be a judgment for the amount? Unless you're actually right. The problem is that it stayed in the criminal case.
Right.
And when he went to court, all right, so you go to, when you're arrested, right, they give you an arraignment date. You go to the arraignment date. That's the video I'm talking about. That's where the judge questions him. Then they set you up another court date, and then you go into the next judge, who's basically going to have to be the judge that presides over your case, right? So, Gabe, in speaking, the first time you went, you had the public defender pull your hair from behind you and said, if you actually did work for this guy, do not
But I
do
think
this.
it was two
Gave her a
different
call.
judges.
It was two different judges.
Yeah, I saw two different judges.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and that's the one you told about the
and
I don't
I'm
work for
man,
free.
These, they're going through judges.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you can't even get your point across, because as soon as you get your point across to one judge, they switch out the judges, and then he doesn't know about it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So what happened was he went there to appear in court in front of the first judge. I'm sorry, the second judge now, for his first regular court date. And as he's speaking, this public defender behind him pulls us by the back of his hair and said, if you actually did work for this guy, don't, do this. And gave him his card, or her card. It was a girl.
Right.
Gave him her card. And so he's like, all right. And he called. Normally they would reschedule another date anyway. So that's what they did. So that judge never got to hear what the arraignment
She
judge
wouldn't let
heard.
me talk.
Yeah.
She wouldn't let me talk.
Yeah. So it just went basically from him speaking when he first got there to it being another court date and him having to contact this lawyer who said she'd help him. So it went to like all of a sudden public defender and prosecutor did it, deal. Continue. There was never like a thing that went on.
I honestly think it's more of a, it's so dumb. To me, it's dumb. I mean, it looks bad on paper, but it is so dumb.
It's dumb,
because it would just be, it could have been settled so long ago.
Yeah.
It could have been, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's like Gabe was like, get it done and over with. Let's just get done with this, And but he listened to her. He believed her, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh my God, dude! Number one, you have witnesses to this," and she didn't even want to hear from a witness. And then you have proof of this it being a civil matter, and basically what it came down to was those two making a plea deal so that no one got a case dismissed because it's about
I
points and stuff for them.
And the lawyer was like, "You don't have to come today."
Yeah.
You don't have to come today.
Yeah. So it's like points for this
because
one.
I want to say something to the judge.
Yeah.
Well, I advise you don't say anything to the judge because it could be used you in a court of law. Well, of course,
Yeah. That's nothing. They actually thought he was somebody else.
Yeah, that's another
thing.
And
they tried to get him on a bunch of other shit.
Yeah, and they found out that it wasn't me.
Based on what he had to do to get the lawyer to do anything about that was call her over and over.
I called that woman like 3 or 4 times a day.
Yeah. I mean, and she's like, I've never had anybody like contacting me the way you're contacting me. And he goes, because you got the wrong person. So it's like they build up this thing, which may have been why they were trying to do this plea thing the whole time.
Right.
Okay. So they're building up this thing. Then finally you end up getting it because they realized it wasn't you.
It wasn't me.
Yeah.
Because they asked me for my social security number and I gave it to them and it didn't match the person who claiming to be me.
Yeah. So, and not only that, it would be a first grand theft charge anyway. So it was like, how did he even get? But anyway, they put him on a program. They avoided a bunch of shit. They put him on a program. He's like, fine, because he was willing to pay the whole thing now. He didn't even care.
And the money went, that's my problem.
Yeah. And just so you know, because it went back to court and came back, I was like done with it. I'm like, hell no. You're not having this on your charge. I actually spoke to an attorney about it, and he says, well, actually, the prosecutors should have taken care of this. And I showed him the video. He goes, yeah, this is all wrong. So now, based on ethics and a whole bunch of other shit, and that video as evidence, it's sitting in front of a judge right now, and the whole thing could be dropped. So, and that's what we're waiting on. So it's just kind of funny, good for you, Jeremy. You brought this to everybody's attention. Great. Well, I guess we got another case we could talk to you about, and we'll update you when it happens. But then you got the Facebookers.
There ain't nothing else. Nothing else.
Then you got the Facebook. Oh, except that one thing that I mentioned when he said that there was an arrest charge for you for stealing something. And it turned out to be that machine.
The pressure washer?
The pressure washer.
The pressure washer.
They tried to get him for stealing a pressure washer that he rented.
Ago, right?
Yeah, that was even longer.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
But they tried to get him for a pressure washer. His pressure washer broke, and he was on a job, so he went and rented one. Returned it, no big deal. Next thing you know, there's like a charge for him or something. I don't know. Was it a charge or was it just a report? I don't even know. It was just
a report.
But they was it? I think it might have been a charge.
I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't remember. But what happened was it got dropped because they found the freaking pressure washer in the repair shop.
It was being repaired from a guy who had it before me or after me.
Yeah.
So it went out after me.
But then but it did go out after you, but then somehow it went back to your name,
right?
And you being the last one. So
right.
That's what that was.
So, but they found it, and what they do?
They dropped it.
And they called and apologized.
Yeah, and totally apologized for it. So I don't know what else was on. I mean, before that, who freaking cares? But
I got a few traffic. Maybe.
Oh, I have traffic, and I explained that. Oh, I have 4 traffic tickets, and it's all for the same freaking thing. Which is all wrong. So the fake group post telling David R to contact the umbrella guy to let his story be heard. Well, let him do that. Let him do that. That's fine. There's no story there. Nobody did anything wrong when it came to David either. So, and I proved that last night. As a matter of fact, when we went off the live, we obviously talked about it because it happened in the beginning of the live. I showed Tori and Kendra all the emails. So what I told you was the truth. So the guy got upset because I wouldn't go live right then and there. And he did that once before. He wanted me to pull somebody on the channel, and I had 10 or 15 minutes before Robbie had gone live. So I don't know if that started it, but when he asked me to go live yesterday, I couldn't. It was no possible way for me to.
And I love how
I don't know. It was weird. It's just weird how it happened.
Like some people say, oh, they're scam artists. They're doing it to pay his probation. If that was the case, I would have already paid it off.
Yeah, guys, $400 has been paid into his probation.
Yeah, if I had the money to pay it all off, personally myself, I would have.
Yeah, actually more has because you paid it on the other PTI program. Right.
He
paid more
but I paid
before
for
that.
It out of my own money.
Kendra, leave my buddy alone. But
and I got people, I don't want to say, but normally people who are claiming they're basically making me look like a douchebag or a fucking scumbag. Don't have support. Don't have people that will verify.
Oh yeah, he's got plenty of clients that will verify him.
I got
plenty.
I got you. I got Kendra. I got Robbie.
No, but you have clients.
I got other people that that know me on a personal level.
Yeah.
So,
but
I don't see nobody coming over to Jeremy speaking up for him. I don't see nobody taking.
Yeah, who's taking up for Jeremy?
His YouTubers.
Yeah.
What? I'm talking about average.
Who personally knows Jeremy besides you sitting?
Your average person.
Yeah. Who is personally taking up for Jeremy, condoning what he's doing?
No one.
No one.
But you're gonna attack people's their low point,
their integrity,
or their problems,
everything,
or their issues that they're dealing with. You're gonna attack that and exploit it. Go fuck yourself, dude. You're gonna have to do better than that, man.
There you go. His opinion. He's allowed to do it. But anyway, so I just want to touch base with how much you paid into it. The only reason why is because there's money sitting here for a barn, and they're accusing of paying for it. So Gabe has paid $400 into this. Why? Because he made an arrangement to do it on a monthly basis, right?
Yeah.
But there's also a reason why he chose to do only that much, and it's because it's sitting in front of a judge.
Right.
Still, to this
So
point, why is he going to pay it all off if it's going to get dropped and then come up in a civil case? Because it is a civil case.
and whatever
The guy's
money I
going to have to file the civil case.
Yeah, but whatever money I've been putting, a little bit that I've been putting,
it goes to him
it
anyway.
goes to him
Yeah.
anyway. So
He
I'm
doesn't
showing that I'm showing the state that I'm I'm paying them this money.
Yeah.
But
And I can prove it. You want to know why, guys? I paid $200 yesterday because that's when he was supposed to do it.
and I asked her to do it.
Yeah, and he asked me to do it. So I took
Because
the
I
money
didn't
from
do it.
the
I didn't
check
have
that he
time.
deposited the day before and paid it.
So,
$200.
so is there any other personal questions that I can help you with?
Since he's sitting here and he's
Right.
being open right now,
You want to know what type of briefs I got on? What color they are?
What color are they?
Huh?
I didn't see.
Black.
He would never act that way in front of a judge. He's got no balls. What a punk. Yeah. Any more questions? You already know you can't get sealed records. That's why he did what he
I
did.
myself,
Actually,
when I
hang on.
come into the chat and I talk, that's just me.
Mhm.
There's no, I'm not.
Yeah, we're
I
not
don't act
phony
one
here.
way, you know what I mean? So
We already know Lisa is blessed. There you go.
and I thank you very much, you guys that are sticking up for me in there, because
Exactly,
I-
DRD.
I'm counting on you guys to stand up for me, because if I can't, I don't have that opportunity, that privilege, that what do you call that luxury,
Megan,
because I got to watch myself.
Megan wants to know, Gabe, do you fold or crunch your toilet paper?
Honey, I fold it.
Oh my God, Spade said I got 12 charges for one bar fight.
Crumple your toilet paper.
Kenja wants to know if we could see your colonoscopy.
I like an
pictures.
even wipe, I guess you would say, right?
Can we see your colonoscopy pictures so we can literally see up your ass? Kendra wants to know.
Oh,
you actually don't have it.
it's on the internet. You can look it up. It's public now. Public. Go ahead. Post that, Jeremy.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Gabe, we will bail you out with our cheese fund, buddy.
Is there any proctologists in the chat? Can someone do something with that asshole?
Lisa already told us she is blessed to have you.
Oh, let's get off that, please.
To have you.
Yeah, oh, to have me. Yeah,
Yes. We got your back, Gabe. I'm a folder too, Megan said. I thought Lisa said he was blessed. That's why she had him. I did. But I'm also blessed to have him. Gabe here's 2-inch pipe and he goes, "Excuse me, what's a 2-inch pipe?"
Because I kind of feel really bad. I feel like it's partially my fault, because you are good. It's great. They know who you are on here, but I know who you are.
20 years.
20 years. And I tell you what, if it wasn't for her, I'd probably been dead a long time ago.
Don't say that.
Yeah. She saved my life. Absolutely.
Don't say that. He's gonna make me cry. Stop it.
Absolutely.
I do half and half fold and half crunch.
So. What do you call an extremist, I guess? I like jumping.
You're an extremist. No, you're
jumping
not.
out of airplanes. And,
oh, you're a risk taker for sure.
Yeah.
Dan's a double folder.
Double folder.
We've all seen things from Germ that he's deleted. Yeah, he's no saint or pastor. No. Don't donate money if you do not trust the people you're sending it to. It's that easy. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That includes me. I'm not excluded from that. For whatever reason, and I know there's a lot of trust issues and stuff, and that's why I explained last night.
And that's why I went on, because I think Lisa's community deserved to hear it from me. So, You know, she could say whatever she wants because she's just going to stick up for me. Whatever.
Well, hold up, you know.
Because you're my wife. And,
Yeah, but I'm not
but
a
if they hear it
liar,
from
but I
me-
will
no,
back you.
Right. But I wanted them to hear it from me too, as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
I hate 6-foot ladders, let alone jumping from an airplane, let alone getting in a plane. And if I can get there by car, I don't go. If I can't get there by car, I don't go. Oh, he's gonna make me cry. Oh, no cry, no cry. Also, don't donate if you want to have strings attached. That would be correct.
what happened?
Don't donate if you want to have strings attached. Jerem obviously uses corn cobs, but leaves them stuck up his. Gabe gets mushy, Tori said. She's witnessed it. Ken just said, my husband loves jumping out of planes. Gabe jumped out of a plane before.
A couple times.
Yeah, and he wants to again. Crazy ass. I'm not watching.
What I want to do is I want to jump off a cliff.
No.
Cliff diving. And I want to get the sail where they got it where you can cliff dive.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can fly. It's a glider suit that you can put on.
Jerem says exactly, and she will set you straight as well.
What, huh?
Jerem X said exactly, and she will set you straight as well.
No.
Well, over 100 jumps for the 106th what does that mean? 106 milers? I don't know anything about it, so if it means something, I don't. It kind of split up right there. 106. A little bit. Now it's gone. Road King said cliff diving is cool as shite. Paraglide.
Yeah, I haven't cliff dived, but I would like to. But I'm 51 now, so I'm not too old to do that.
You guys are beautiful souls, Lisa and Gabe. Don't you ever apologize for the things you have done. Ask Michelle, John, and Harley how horrible you guys are. You blessed their family and all of that.
I've learned a lot from my past, and I've learned you'll learn from your mistakes.
Yeah. You can be like Vin Diesel and drive of a bridge, just can't remember the movie. What was it?
Yes, I skydive.
This thing, if y'all were a priest and a nun, they would find something to lie about and make a storyline out of it, right? Long-range surveillance, 106 military intelligence battalion. I'm sorry, rebellion. Oh wow.
Yeah.
So he's fun. Rebellion.
Yeah.
If you love the adrenaline rush, it's a bucket list must do.
Yeah, we used to when I was in my early 20s, we used to go on I-95. At the time, I had a GXR 750, and it had a boost kit on it. And we used to go on 95 down by Fort Lauderdale, and there'd be about 30 of us lined up across the whole interstate. We'd hold up traffic. We'd go down to like 10 miles an hour. Everyone would be hot and get enough space between the traffic of us and have races.
That's
but
crazy.
I mean, until the state troopers came, and then we all had to scatter.
He was a genuine bad boy. Obviously, you don't do things like that.
No, not no more. Not no more.
Right.
But you do dumb stuff when you're kids. Yeah, we used to do stuff like that, and the troopers found it fun too because they love doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
they love chasing us.
I'm sure.
Oh, they love chasing
you.
us. Oh yeah. They call the cat and mouse. The cat and mouse. We're gonna play cat and mouse.
Gabe, you need to ask Gary about the meow meows. The meow meows.
What's that?
I don't know. You gotta ask Gary.
Who asked that?
A priest, a rabbi, and a preacher.
Kendra?
Yeah, a priest, a rabbi. Whoop! Now I lost it. Hold on. A priest, rabbi, and preacher walked into a bar. They all went, "Ouch." Lisa's stealing money for our cruise ship trip. Julie said, I'm a recovering alcoholic with a scary past. Today, I'm 32 years sober. I have scars that tell me who I am. Can't stand people when judge over what they do not know. Stay strong, Gabe and Lisa. Congratulations on your sobriety. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's cool.
We actually, with Steve and Tyler, we're going to put a sobriety home in a hospital. he was gonna do one concert in Los
I
Angeles
remember you
and
telling me
donate.
about that.
Yeah, yeah. He was gonna donate the whole entire wing as a sobriety home for people.
And they calling you, and the thing is, did they know about you
No.
working in the 80s?
Well, they know that I've done shows and stuff, but they don't know like what the shows were involved with or
Who they were involved
who.
with?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. That's fine. It's okay. But I've done a lot of stuff with sobriety. I've worked with musicians who needed it, who were in it. I work with MAD. I've worked with several different organizations. St. Jude. So many different organizations, and we've done some fabulous things. So, you know, I lived a musician's life, going, traveling back and forth, doing shows and things like that, or going on a tour or whatever it may be. So, I had repercussions from living that life, no doubt. But it's not drug related, criminal related, or anything like that. It would affect me breaking a lease a couple of times.
Well, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Well, back then, musicians didn't put leases in their name.
No, I did.
That's usually the managers did that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, big mistake. But I learned from that. Kendra says, honestly, all this bullshit makes me want to do drugs and drink, so it's asinine. Oh my God!
I'm just
Spade,
glad
aren't
we
you
don't have
moneybag?
we don't have judgmental people. But you got a pretty good community.
I can't explain, but I keep thinking of the last scene in the OG Roadhouse. Last scene in the OG. Okay.
Yeah.
Try to think of the last scene.
In Roadhouse?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What,
Yeah.
the guy ripping out his throat?
That was like before the last scene. Jennifer W said it's tempting. Well, we don't want that. We listen and we don't judge.
Thank God. Thank you guys. Because today's world is a very judgmental world, man. I mean,
trust me,
negative,
Gabe did feel like he was punched in the gut over this.
Yeah,
he can't believe it.
I did, and it wasn't for me. It was like I took a punch because it had nothing to do with Lisa.
Yeah.
Or her channel. This was something I was dealing with, me personally.
Actually, business-wise.
Yeah, business-wise.
But it affects you personally.
Right, it does, because I'm not used to being in trouble. I'm not in trouble.
Well, according to them, you're always in trouble.
I'm not in trouble. What, you talk, you're
talking about, like, getting caught smoking pot.
Whatever.
How many times?
And it's because I'm so open about it. Because I am open about it. I've been,
no,
honestly,
not at all, Dan. Hey, Gabe, if you're a hardcore criminal, dang it, I want to go to the jail you go to.
Tell me about it, man.
A wiener wop, a wiener wop.
Never done any time, anything like that.
In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. Ben Gazzara's character is like German, right?
I look like a drug addict. Somebody said
I look like a drug addict. That.
I look like a drug addict.
Gabe Weeks. Weaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeremy said he was wishing it was Meeks because then he can go after Russell Meeks and maybe try and tie some little. He doesn't even know who Russell Meeks is. He's like, what? And Gabe doesn't have a diaper on to skydive.
Yeah.
Oh my God! You missed the videos. He doesn't watch them, guys. He doesn't know any of the storylines that Jeremy's ever played.
It's
he
like
just
a
knows
weight
he's a
has been
false
lifted.
prophet.
At least you're, that is a weight lifted off of my shoulders. That they know that now.
Just so that there's no.
Yeah, there's nothing else.
Yeah.
Because I was worried because Lisa isn't, because you're a fucking good person, man, and I didn't want my fucking situation hindering what you were doing.
It didn't. It doesn't. They think it does. They're using it to try to. And yeah, it might upset me. Like, holy shit! All right, so here we go. Let's deal with this. And that's exactly what it is right now. All right, we'll deal with this. Okay, next. Like today, he's posting all these links to whatever. I don't care. I don't care what paperwork says. I know what I lived through. I know what it is. I'm not denying anything. I really don't give a shit what he says. I don't care now that he put that out. I don't care if it goes on Tug, Megan. Obviously Megan's being evil. And that's what they're gonna use. I really don't care. I don't care, and I don't care if somebody said something about David going on Tug either. I have all my proof. So that doesn't matter. I'm not going to discuss David. Not for any reason, but out of pure respect, that I don't know what the hell happened. But I didn't dodge nothing, that's for sure, based on the emails. And I don't know. What I do know is I couldn't go live last night.
We were on the road and he wanted you to go on, and I said, how are you going to do that in my truck?
Yeah, and I also called Bruce. And because I was going to think, if you want to go on, do you want to come on with me? Because if there were questions, whatever, Bruce could be there. So I called Bruce at the time. So it was like, we'll find out, I said, well, I can't go on. So I responded to him, and I even attempted to send him the video. If he had questions, he could see for himself. It was a civil matter. I don't know if he had other questions. He didn't say what it was that he had questions about.
Oh,
but he never responded.
And I got to say this, that my probation officer knows every single thing I do.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Every single thing I do. He knows when I go out. I'm allowed to go out. I'm allowed to go out of county if I call and ask for permission.
Which
and I told him the situation we were in. He said, don't worry about it. You got my permission.
Yeah. Yeah. So
and they say that, people want to, interfere with my probation. They said, well, they can turn around if they just say people want to say make up stuff, false things to my probation officer.
Mm-hmm.
It's
don't even discuss it. Don't even discuss it. Don't even discuss it.
So
yeah. We all have things we regret. No one's perfect except Germ, of course. Gabe, you're great here. Lisa, Tori, Kendra, Michelle, Jones. Thank you, Duchess. Yeah, well, so now you've heard it from Gabe.
So.
Again. But, guys, Gabe always comes walking. If you ever have a question or something, you could always ask. And I will literally get him for you rather than me answer it. I do have a better memory than him for the most part. But he'll tell you his feelings about it and what, King Paco just keeps posting, Lisa, shut up. You have a good heart. Stop listening to negative. Guys, here's the thing. No, but hold on. Okay, I have to listen to negative too. I'm not gonna listen to a ton of the same shit. And like I said, we've answered it before. This little girl thought she was gonna bring it out, and now Jerem goes boo boo boo, and here we go again. It's the same shit he had before. There's nothing.
He thought he thought you were gonna back down a little bit.
No, I'm not backing down. I'm not. I think most wives remember better. But if you ever want questions or whatever you want updates, we'll let you know. But I can tell you right now, it's going pretty much looking like it's gonna be dropped. So then, what are you gonna say then?
And you know what, Jeremy? I won't be on probation forever, dude.
So, Jeremy tried to hurt and bully Lisa, but she's stronger than he is. Yeah. He went after my heart. Absolutely. You come after my friends, you come after my family, my husband, you're going to go there. And you know what? What I want to say about that also is that he did it at the right time. He did it at exactly the right time to get me. Okay? But that was his plan, and that's fine. Okay? It's still not going to stop me. I've done nothing wrong. And I've done nothing wrong with exposing the truth about his lies and what he's doing to this family. I'm allowed to have my opinions. I'm allowed to critique everything he says in a video, live or otherwise. And I'm allowed to react to it. It's fair use. I've used his images very, minuscule, and that's fair use. And okay, I was going to take that off. And he can say whatever he wants about it. If you want to take me to court about it, that's fine. I'm allowed to do that. It is my freedom of speech. He uses his freedom of speech to harass and taunt and defame. He uses a public restraining protection order, let's just say, because that's exactly what it is, as a weapon. He uses a protection order as a weapon. He lies about his life, I've not lied about my life. I'm not lied about my life at all. Ask me a question. Did anybody ever ask me, have you ever been evicted? If they had, I would have said yes.
You got a wall full of proof of what you've done.
Yeah. I have a wall full of proof of what I've done. You know? Jeremy went after Gabe because he has shit about you. Yeah, he doesn't. If you're nice to her, she will cry.
Nothing on me.
Ken just says if you're nice to her, she will cry, but say shit about her family and a demon will come out and get you. Well, there you go. That's true. Okay. To me, the things I do, damn it, you're gonna make me cry there. But the things I do, I don't know how to explain it. It just comes naturally to me. I was brought up. You come after my mother, I'm gonna go after you hardcore. And that's what started me yesterday, was when Kendra was mad because they were making fun of my mother's weight. Believe it or not, that's what really got me in tears yesterday with everything that was going on. Okay, that's what was the last thing that made me go nuts. My mother brought me up to protect my siblings and my family because I had younger siblings. I was older. I was her helper. I was Joni's little helper. That's what everybody called me. Okay, I was brought up to protect my siblings.
Oh,
and that's what I've done, and that included Kendra.
Hey Kendra, you got that text I sent you yesterday telling you I love you, right?
Making sure. She's like, that's why. She just leave my buddy alone. But yeah, Bonnie, and but that's how I was brought up, and that's what I do, and I did that their whole lives, whether they like it or not. I did it. You know, Kendra will tell you I'm the fun police. She said yes, I did. But I protected them, and I've been doing that ever since. So I'm hoping that may make more sense when I say to you that what I'm doing, it's just natural. It's natural to me, if that makes sense. I don't know what else to say. It's just natural. So when people think like, oh, and I don't mean to, I'm not taking advantage or being unappreciative at all in any way. I just, maybe it's easier to say it's hard to take a compliment for something that comes so natural to me. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. The picture you showed of your mother, tell her she was beautiful and kind. My mother, I was just going to show it again. I can't. I'm sorry. It took a really long time for me to even look at her pictures again. But just to talk about her like this, I just can't. Yeah, that's where they got me when because I was on the phone real early and I didn't go to sleep till late, and Gabe had talked to Kendra like 5 a.m. and I ended up in the rest of the conversation when he went to work. I literally passed out talking to her actually, but I couldn't fall asleep, and because we were talking about it, and she's just going over everything she's reading. She's like, she was just getting madder and madder and madder. And the last thing was like they were mocking my mother because she was an overweight woman. Let me tell you something. My mother was overweight, but she was freaking beautiful. And whenever she went out, she looked beautiful. And she always got compliments on how beautiful she was. And, you know, so to someone to sit there and try and just mock my mother for being overweight, you know, because the funny thing is I've been sent screenshots on almost every Facebook person that has been on these pages. And, you know, some of them, because they're posting pictures of Harley and me, they've gone, and I've been sent, this is who this person is, this is that person, and I'm looking at these pictures. You want to talk about my mother? Are you out of your mind? You know, to me, there's no comparison. The fact that your picture is in my email right now for the reasons that it's there, my mother blows you away. My mother would never stand for any of this that's going on. My mother would have nipped it right in the freaking bud. And I know damn well that my mother is proud. And I know my mother was all over Harley Grace. So, my mother always makes me cry. So, because I miss her terribly. She was my best friend for, luckily, because I know some people don't have, for 40, for a long time. And she was just poof. Gone. So, best hugs in total love, making fun of someone's mother. It's just schoolyard bullies. Let it go. Don't. Yeah, no, it's not that. It's just when I talk about my mom, I can't. I just can't. I can't even stop it. So there you go. Nobody puts Aunt Joni in the corner. that's Kendra's Aunt Joni, and I was her favorite person. And what? Sorry, give us something. But he should be talking about how he's going to compensate Michelle and John for the torture over the past few years. Yeah, he could. What he's doing is just so wrong. I wish you wouldn't let these soulless humans bother you. Mistress in society, unwell, you are full up with your mother's love. Let it shine. Lisa.
That's the living
Thank
room.
you so much. Joni Strong.
That's
What?
the living room.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's the living room.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's the living room. That's what she did to the box.
Are you serious?
Yep. She tore it to pieces.
Hold on a second. Were you playing with her to have her? Yeah.
I
Okay.
started playing with
Oh
it.
my
When
God.
I walked back in there and she's torn it all up.
Oh, okay. So there was a box here, and I guess he was playing with my dog with Jules, and I've obviously been out here. He just came out to me and showed me a picture of what the living room looks like with this box all tore up all over the floor, making it appear like she did it all on her own. This is how devious he could be. But meanwhile, he was playing with her with the box, and she was jumping after it and stuff, and tore it apart. And I guess continued as he walked out the door, and then he walked back in and took a picture. I'm sitting here thinking, oh my God, like my brain little, because she's having some hip problems. We think, so that is like not the norm for her. So I'm thinking, oh my God, she's destroying stuff in the house. What's going on in there? But yeah, anyway, thank you, Solani. It just doesn't see your heart. Thank you guys. Thank you all so much. And look, I know that come like Sunday, Jerem's gonna be sitting there like, oh, and like make fun of it and all. Look, like I said, I don't care. It's my reaction to what he did. And it wasn't even right after that. It was the next day with everything else. But that's fine. And trying, like I said, to me, it's courage to do it publicly, especially publicly, but it's courage to do it in front of anybody, and it's strength. It's not a form of weakness, and so I'm not afraid to show it. But I'm sorry, you mentioned my mom. You're gonna make me cry. There's just no doubt. Here's a happy thought. Harley right now is playing on her grill making food. That is so cool. Her grill actually like heats up, like it turns red and smokes. It's pretty cool. But he was crying about Martha's fake cancer scare. Yeah, you're right. That's true. That's true. Yeah. There's weirdness. There's real weirdness around that whole thing. Oh, and also he said that we were divorced. Gabe and I were never divorced. It was a shock to the system. Pretty much, yeah. Ask Harley to throw on. Yeah, ask Harley to put on some burgers for us, John. Burger with pickles for Mary. It's 6:19. Wow. All right, guys. I'll tell you what. I know we're chatting right now and stuff, but I will be back. Tori's going live. Tori, you still here? Tori should be going live. She said she was going to be going live. Hold on. Let me see. Let me take a look. Hold on. Okay, in 30 minutes, 25 minutes now, I guess. Tori's going live. So Tori will be going live soon, and I am going to go do dinner and whatnot, because obviously this was an early show today with the macaroni and cheese cover up. And I hope you guys got any questions you may have had, or it explains it more to you in regards to that, because it is a big case. And it's a big story. It's something that is really important. Yeah, thank you, Francis. That's what it made me think that she tore that up. But no, it was him playing with her. And you'll be on at 10:08. Yeah. I was on late, like a few minutes late last night because I was over in Guapo's chat, and that's kind of how I was like, wait a minute, what the hell just happened? That's kind of how I figured out what was going on. And then that was pretty much the last straw, and then me explaining that they said something about my mom, and that's when I lost it.
Oh, I figured it was me.
No, it wasn't you. Get some rest. Please see you soon at 9. Yeah, sometimes for some people it's 9. Here for me on the East Coast, I go on at 10 Eastern time.
Oh,
so what?
Ask them if they want to see a video of me chopping down this pine tree.
Yeah, if you guys are interested in like really watching Gabe do some tree work and stuff like that, and we'll put it up. I saw that, Jen. So many people have actually sent that to me. She definitely got a ticket that involved if you look at it, it's really hard to tell what it was. The monkey boy. It looks like it could be a DUI. So it's alleged. I can't really get too much from it. But it wasn't that expensive of a ticket. So I really don't know what it is. I do know she has a lead foot, as does German, as does Gabe, as does me sometimes.
Yeah, I have a lead foot, that's for sure.
Lots of people do. But I don't know what that really is, but it's been sent to me a lot, actually. It does look like a DUI incident or something that she definitely had to appear in court for, and there was something about child restraint. I don't even know. I don't know what it is. So, but to me, okay, fine. Maybe that if it coincides with the text that we got last night. My whole family has a lead, but yeah, that would be true. Actually, my mom did. Yeah, that would be true. Brother or sister, I need to know with what I found. Brother or sister, for whom? What do you mean? Guys, you have to remember sometimes it's delayed. So if it's something I said 2 minutes ago, I just want to reference what you're talking about. What you're referring to that I said. Lisa, did you get your gecko to eat? No.
Oh,
no. We're going to be doing that. That's why I'm going to get off and do that as well. But she's fine. She's not she's not acting strangely. She's chilling. Lisa current message. Can you tell Lisa to read my super chat? Oh. I'm so sorry.
Oh, wow.
Gabe Jerem, come on. I read Turkeys. You're a good person. You do your best life. Gives you lemons. Go on, sister. Make lemonade. Sweet. Hand it out. Thank you so much, Chaos. $5 super chat. Whoop whoop. Where's my thing? My tamarind. Thank you. I'm sorry I missed that. Jenna says, Gabe, wait for all this to be over to put your videos out there, or they will say you're a public figure. Yeah.
That just sucks. This guy just sucks, period.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm letting him go after me.
Yeah, leave me alone, dude.
Harley sleeps a lot. Yeah, mine does too. But when I came out, she was awake. She's just peeking out.
But he ain't gonna leave me.
She loves the smaller cave that she has. What?
He ain't gonna leave me alone. I'm the only thing he's got on you. That's it.
It's normal for Gecko in a move.
I'll be your punching bag, Lise.
That's all right. I got this. My husband and I were together for 47 years. Wow. Can you imagine 47 years? Oh. Hey, Strat Lover. At least that's what my email is. Probably about the Gecko in a few. Okay. Yes. I actually started so I can go back to it. Hello, chick. Oh my gosh, Lisa, you're beautiful and a strong warrior. $50 super chat. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I can't find my Team Marie thing. Ow. And I just yanked my headphones out.
Why do you have the headphones there?
Because it was easier to hear Bruce and Michael when they were talking. Michael was a little bit lower, but with the headphones, he sounded louder. I'm just not sure how everybody else heard him. I don't know where it is.
I have no idea.
I don't know. We'll find it before we go live again. You can buy info on ChooseFinder. Oh, I have all that info on all of them, actually. Not from ChooseFinder, but I have info on every last one of them. So, but I don't use it to threaten them in the capacity that they're doing, if that makes any sense. It's definitely looked at to see who the hell I'm dealing with. But
you're going to deal with the person directly. You're not going to mess with anybody else outside.
No.
You know, like it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I do have information on all of them, and the reason why is because all of them are actually going to be involved with authoritative figures. Let's just put it that way. So, well, I knew he had siblings, but couldn't remember gender. Oh, you were talking about his? No, just stoop to the level of no, I won't. I won't sit there and go. Now, what I can do, and it's so funny that they did this today with this like Dropbox folder that everybody can get. It was funny because I was like, okay, I mentioned it last night, and I think it's just funny how they did this. But I can put the things that we've already shown on a website. Or I can just give it to one that I already know exists that they might not know exists. I think that's what I'll do. Just so that if people want to learn the truth, they can go to that too. It doesn't have to be on here or not. What? What'd you say?
I don't know. I was
Keep
responding to
being
I can't
you.
see.
Keep being you. Florida native said.
Florida native, right?
Yeah, Victoria.
What, they're Florida native?
Yeah. Just be ready. I'm sure he's going to come back at you hardcore because you and your husband are handling this together. I watch Martha in the videos. I see the disgust in her facial expressions. You know, I do too, Victoria, but she still like vomits with him, you know? And she still mocks certain people. Actually, she's calling me a walrus too. So she's right there in it with him, you know? Whether it's disgust, you know, I mean, it appears that way. But she's what?
They're vomiting in each other's mouth.
Yeah, that's why I call her mucus mouth. He's a germ. She's got mucus mouth. Doesn't mean she kisses him, right? Whenever he forces her to. Yeah, what kind of Honda do you own? You own a Honda?
I don't own a Honda. Nope. No Honda.
Rin lost her teeth.
No Honda.
Tori goes live in less than 30 minutes. Yeah.
I've had Suzuki, I've had Kawasaki, no Hondas. Never had one.
He wants a Harley.
Yeah, since I rode one, I never looked back. I used to ride crotch rockets.
Kat just says, oh, she owns a Honda. I'm going to drop and work on my quilt. See you later. Hang tough. Thank you, Jen. Have fun. Yes, she does, but we've seen the text messages. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I seen them too. So I get that, but still, like, she's such an actor. Like, to me, she's a better actor than he is. You know? But how far into it, how deep? I mean, it's based on how she's saying she looks more believable than him, actually, sometimes. So
yeah, John says he's got a Harley.
He has a Harley. Yeah, I don't know, but if she was smart, she would just get out. I mean, I know it could be easier said than done. I get it, but once she knows there's a court case like that, I mean, she should shut up because he's going down. I don't know how he's convincing her that what they're all doing is acceptable. I really don't. She's not stupid, and I don't know. Maybe it's just all part of the whole greed thing because money seems to be a lot of what everybody's what's going on and driving a lot of this that's happening. My opinion is he's got her. I'm sorry, the chat jumped. Say it again. My opinion, he has got her in his stranglehold, and I still hold her as an accomplice. Okay, I agree with that. Wait a minute. I think I have a Harley, Michelle. Yeah, what kind of lawnmower? We have a Honda mower and generator. Oh, is that what kind of lawnmower you got?
I don't have a lawnmower. I got Husqvarna.
You have a mower thing, yeah.
Husqvarna.
Yeah.
But a zero turn, I had one, but I sold it.
That's all they are, actors. They are actors in a role. You gave Ken the rabbit to ran by your heart. That I have to agree with you with that too. Sorry, Kitty. Definitely. George is part of the problem and is as guilty as Jeremy. See, that's just it. I think so too, regardless of what's keeping her there. She doesn't have to foam at the mouth the way he does. Just by sitting there. He needs her because of his show. Right? So she doesn't have to say what she says. You know? It's not acceptable by any means, but I do think he discussed her, and she is playing a part that is going to take her. I think take her down with him. I agree. That I agree with completely. Can you freeze chili?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Macaroni was a John Deere.
John Deere.
What was the one that you had?
I had a
Wasn't it a Husker? No. It was the yellow.
That
was the older one.
Yeah, I had a Club Cadet.
Yeah, he had a Club Cadet, but you had another one.
Oh, I had a Dixie Chopper.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to have races on those things. Those things will do like 20 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That's the Dixie Chopper is like the Ferrari of lawnmowers.
Exactly, Photo Native. Alrighty, guys. So I'll be back. He needs a woman by his side for imagery reasons. Exactly, Kendra. I'll be back later at 10. Kendra will be here. Tori will be here. Robbie will be here. And I'll find out actually what's that compelled thing. I'll find out what that compelled thing is really all about. We'll probably discuss it. There is another case we want to talk about. And we'll play some games later. So, for the right reasons. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody supporting us. Thank you for watching today with the Macaroni and Cheese Cover Up. I hope you guys learned something. And thank you. Just thank you.
For understanding.
Thank you. Yeah. For taking the time to listen and understand what's happening. What's really going on.
I just hope I don't have to repeat it again.
No, you know what? We're not going to.
I don't want to repeat it again. I've done it like 3 times.
We're not going to. That's it. They can always scroll back or go back and watch replays.
Right.
The trolls, that is, or whatever. Anyhow, so again, we'll be back later. Thank you all. Thank you to our mods. And we'll see you around 10 o'clock Eastern time.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Gotta do the bye. 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 Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Bye. Come on. Bye. Don't you know I know? Bye. 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 Ta-ta. See you later, guys.